dead trees. No sound. There should be. So he has watched this grow from ever since the time that for as long as they've been there. So he said to us that there is a plant called gorse. Some of you might recognise this. It is a bush with yellow flowers. You can make gorse flower tea, which is very medicinal, very beneficial to you. So they flower all year round, and you can make teas from them, which is lovely. What he noticed was that when the trees were growing, so they had a lot of deer which were browsing and grazing within this forest. What he noticed is obviously deer eat tree saplings, so they really have a massive impact on the ecosystem, which is why it's good to have wolves. Now, he watched that the deer couldn't get to the trees that were in the middle of the gorse bushes, and as the trees grew up and shaded the ground around them, within 3 years the gorse disappeared. Okay? Now I'm going to pay attention to that one now. Within 3 years, the relatively persistent gorse bush completely disappeared, right? So that is called succession. It is called ecological succession. It means that a forest goes through a cycle from seed to mature tree. Okay, so as the tree is growing, it will outcompete and outshade other species and they will disappear. And that's exactly what he was able to see. I would never have known that if he hadn't witnessed it himself, which is amazing. And Deborah, you wait until we get into this. This is nothing. This is genuinely nothing. This is nothing compared to what I'm showing you. So as you get into their land, there's a horse pen here. On the 8 acres we've got 2 horses. That oak tree in the background, he watched him grow. He watched him tree. He watched it double in size over 13 years. Okay, these are some of the apples that they've got, fruits which are just beautiful. So you've got some green varieties, some red varieties. I don't know the actual name of the varieties themselves. This is his vegetable beds. Okay, so you can see another productive fruit tree here on the left. There are different vegetables growing in here, so he's very full, it's very, very full. He's got a polytunnel on the left-hand side, so remember he's practicing permaculture as well as he's doing a lot of forest garden inspired bits where he's allowed succession and he's allowed it to go through. This is within his polytunnel. So another thing that he had is obviously with the droughts that are happening around the world, which is extremely fortunate. And Greenlight, welcome. No worries, I'm joining you late. We are only 35 minutes in, so if at any point you want to go back and have a look over it, please feel free to. I'm looking into Asana, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so sorry if I didn't say hello. So yes, for those of you that have missed the beginning, we are actually going to go back over it, but we've had a very, very powerful week, so stick around because we have really interesting news to share with you. So stay tuned for that.
One adult with eyes on the water.
But so this is in here, so he has had to sacrifice some of his vegetables because he does have a water flow through system where he captures his own water and he takes it through his land through a series of hose pipes to different areas which are there. So this, you ready for this? This is a potato seed. And I find it absolutely insane that I've never seen one before. I remember I have tried, we got on a couple of plots of land, we never were able to stay long enough to actually really get I got stuck in massively on the second one. I still had to leave, so I didn't get a chance to do a full growing season. Lucas did. But this is what a potato seed looks like, and every single seed in that pod is a different variety of potato because it's been pollinated from different areas. Yeah, so that looks like a tomato, but it's not. It is a potato seed, and I don't know how many of you may have known about that because obviously different potatoes you normally chip them. Chip them and you plant them in the ground, and that's where you get your potatoes. But again, PR hat tip. Is that to me? Well, you can have a tip of the hat. Just top of the morning to you. You can have that tip of the hat if you like. I can tell you that now. I know, Lenny. You know, it doesn't make me feel too ignorant. But how have I spent my entire life, even if I haven't fully had a chance to a full growing season? How have I gone my entire life without fucking knowing that is a potato seed? What is happening? Are you kidding me? Like, what is happening? How do we not know this? This is absolutely diabolical. That is a potato seed, and every seed in it is a different variety of potato. You'll have to let me know if that's too loud. We're playing with mute. When I get excited, you might have to take your earphones out. Anika, welcome. Hello, sorry I'm late. It's no worries, Anika. You're right on time. Thank you. But like I say, absolutely incredible. That blows my mind. Do they grow in the US? Absolutely. So it's just literally a potato plant that has gone to flower. Now, I don't know if it's biennial or not. Again, I'm showing my ignorance on this level, but I just have to trust, doing what we're doing. You know, I can't believe it straight away. But I don't know if they're biennial, but when you let them go to flower, I feel like the discovery of the potato seed was worth an F-bomb. I don't know if you agree, but I think the discovery that exists over here, I think that was worth it. Free Queen, I appreciate that. Great popcorn, I appreciate that. And again, I don't actually know the full mechanics of the potato seed and how you grow it and how it looks, but still, it's amazing. Neil, welcome my friend, thank you for tuning in. Again, so I haven't replied, so I've been in touch until the other day, but appreciate it. Potatoes on a vine, well, yeah, of course. So the idea is, obviously, it's, once it's got its full cycle, you can drop it in the ground and start running from there. But yeah, I had no idea. I saw it. Lucas noticed it, but I looked and I thought, at first I thought it was interesting that it was growing tomatoes outside the polytunnel, and then I realised it wasn't at all. So it will grow a flower, it will get pollinated, and it will seed. So yeah, what about that then? Listening for that seed that I plant potatoes by planting seed. Yeah, exactly. So normally it's through chitting, which is what most people do. But there you go. There you go. Sure, it is brooding. It is. The fact we don't know, it's that bad to hear an F-bomb. It's diabolical. I cannot believe in all my time I never knew that. Is that white flower there? That's the potato flower. Right there, look. Yeah? So it will flower, it will get pollinated, and then it goes to that. It becomes that. So, yeah, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Did Bradine say something else, or was it that? Yeah, that was that. Very funny. This was some of his beds. Now, here's something interesting. Note just in the corner here. Thank you, Yelena. I appreciate that very much. Did you say anything?
Toasty bread.
What do they look like when they mature? I don't know, Mark. Great question. Maybe we'll Google it in a second.
That bread is awesome. For toasty bread, it's good. It makes really good Texas toast.
Shall we try and get that information now, shall we? Images. True potato seeds. Here we go. Ready for this? So let's bring this across here. This is what the true potato seeds. Oh, hold on. No, we're good. Look at that. Look.
Because of
that's the potato flower. That's the potato berry. Now, isn't that funny? Yeah, because the potato is in part of the nightshade family. I know it sounds stupid that I might not absolutely directly know that. Again, I haven't done a full season. Lucas will, because he has a trigonos. It's just ironically, as much as we're doing that side of things, it's stuff that I'm still getting under my belt with those bits. But so from those potato berries, these are the true potato seeds that you get from it. Crazy. So I will certainly do a lot more research on that after the live. Through this week, because that is seriously impressive knowledge to know. I thought green tomatoes too. Yeah, absolutely. You know, tomatoes that haven't quite gone over yet. So this here. Now, if you notice, just by the edge of the bed. So normally when you grow horticulture, you'll either put wood chip down, or potentially straw at times, although again, straw's quite beneficial to slugs, and that's not the best thing to do. I've learned that one the hard way. This here is bracken, okay? So bracken is one of those things within the Welsh countryside which is quite prevalent. Why is it prevalent? Because we don't have boars anymore, okay? So the boar would usually, Brizzy says, Plants vs Zombies taught me that potatoes are nightshade. Fair enough then, thank goodness I got that one right. That's hilarious. I love that, by the way. Deborah says, my dad grew up on a potato farm in upstate Maine. He never told me potatoes look like this. That's incredible. You know, it's absolutely fascinating the way the world operates.
To, like,
right? How are people not allowing? Why? Let me look in your eyeballs when I say this.
Kind of like it's a different.
Why on earth is it not common knowledge that one of the most prevalent food sources on earth,
do like how so it's a person,
we don't know that it goes to seed?
And even out in the public,
what is happening?
It changes.
Are we
your
genuinely
behavior with people
like
and everything.
skipping dimensional timelines? What is happening? How is that not common knowledge?
Like, if you pay attention
taught in schools that your potatoes, your fries, your chips, your crisps, the stuff that you have in a shepherd's pie, it literally will go to seed, and you will have a brand new variety of potato. How? How do we not know that?
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's some kind of thing about it where, oh my goodness, nobody can grow just random potatoes from seed. I have no idea. Maybe this is that genetic diversity within the species of potato that we're lacking. Yeah? Imagine if we allowed... I need to look into it. Maybe I'm talking from too much ignorance, but to me, you know, this is that whole idea of the blackberry bush, right? When you have... James, I think we all just discovered none of us are here are Irish. Do you know what, Prince Royal? Do the Irish know? I don't know. Do they know? Do the Irish know? I feel like the Irish need to know. This is crazy. Blas says, I missed that actually.
You got Irish in your blood, boy? Well, let me tell you the story about where you came from.
I'll definitely have to look into that. That sounds very, very nice.
Find more tips on
Doesn't mean anything.
44 minutes.
It's good to
Late for our meditation. I mean,
It doesn't mean you have to do anything or take sides.
You can shop during this ad by saying
Who suffered
yeah,
more?
exactly. You know.
Elevate
Work
your TV viewing
harder.
experience with the Gogi TV
They are-
LED backlight.
They're regrowing them. Old potatoes.
Signifying
You chip them,
your
you plant them back in the ground.
and games for an immersive
So,
home theater
what happens
experience
when we stop doing
with just your voice.
Wow, there you
Check
go.
out Gogi
Well,
TV LED
I
backlight
believe
to your cart
Chris
for
is doing
review.
that.
Just
But
say
anyway,
Alexa,
right guys,
add
well,
to cart.
we'll
That's
pause
Alexa.
there for a moment.
Add to cart.
We will go over to our meditation with David. Let's try to keep on schedule today. Like I say, I would have loved to have had more slides about David's wisdom teachings, because I have finished season 1, the 6 episodes. I need to go back over 4, 5 and 6, but he has been talking about the meditation effect, the multiples effect, the effect that has when you look at DNA under darkness and you put light into a room. What happens when you do that is the light goes straight into the DNA, which again shows that DNA has a gravitational effect. And the other very powerful information was about the regrowing of the rat pancreas. When you shine light through a healthy pancreas into the rat, it regrows within 8 days. And also the other powerful piece of information was that you are 400% more psychic when you are in direct alignment with the galactic center. So those are some of the most profound teachings that David has been bringing forward in season 1 of Wisdom Teachings. It is about the nature of light in our DNA. It is about the nature of the meditation effect. It is about the nature of the multiples effect, which is where we are a unified consciousness. And also, he was talking about the effect.
No, I think it's just like silly, a lot of silliness too.
400%.
Over the years, like the level of businesses and
Side
education
real time,
and lack thereof,
okay,
you know.
on side real time, people are 400% more psychic, more tapped in, more tuned in, more connected. So, yes, when we're going through the 7 pages, there is a solid good chance that we will get to that conversation, but we will go through that together. Free Queen says, I just switched to potatoes a while back, sweet potatoes mostly, but I also love them. Tiny mini potatoes and then cook them in super salty water. Excuse me. Then eat with butter sauce to dip in Italian recipe. Incredible. Just a Setting Sun. Beautiful name as always. Thank you for coming back and being with us. I appreciate you spending the time with us very, very much. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody else who's tuned in. If I have, just know that I love you very dearly and I don't do it on purpose. You can always drop another comment, let me know. Right, meditation. Let's bring ourselves all the way back down.
Okay, great. This guy went to the moon and got a daughter. Can you believe that? Most of those watch people? I don't want to use one of their bones. I already have everything maxed out.
Okay.
No, I can't go in through here.
So take a nice deep breath in.
La la la.
And as you breathe out, just relax.
We made some soup and toasty bread. What are you doing? We play Clash.
What do you mean? Like, it would destroy the whole thing? Was she stupid? What is this? What? What do you want?
So let's go over to the full monitor and we will spend the next couple of minutes with David doing our global peace meditation. I'll leave it with you just now. See you in a second.
There's more. I guarantee.
I put a little bit of peanut butter in there.
Okay. Hold on.
Made it to the end. We made it to the end. You made it to the end. Thank God. We're at 3 hours and 55 minutes, which means I can get this done.
Oh, it's full.
Soylent is people's. All right, let's just go right into the meditation because, you know, we're already at the 4-hour mark and life is good. We're here together. I can keep it to 4 hours if we do this now. So,
by taking part in games, food, music, and more. The event has been going on for nearly 15 years and began to promote Scottish culture with New England connections. Along with the games, tents were set up to
Think of the main landscape. That's the leadership Susan Collins brings to Washington. While others chase headlines and partisan noise, Susan moves forward with purpose. Her eyes fixed on Maine's future. Susan Collins, strong and reliable.
I needed to prioritize myself, and being in the apprenticeship, this was that opportunity for me. The biggest thing that contributed to me doing this was I deserved better.
Exploration champion.
Why did I volunteer for hair and makeup this semester?
Companies. It's like Congress paying.
Like, what is it? They got like, is there like a moon virus or something?
Israeli arms, but actually sending it to another. Everybody knows that. It's such an obvious thing.
Virus right there, you can tell.
We all know that American money is not being spent here the way he talks about it. It's such an and by the way, I personally don't disagree with the idea of stopping American aid to Israel. I want to be more independent. I don't want people like Cenk, even though he lies a lot and he says all kinds of things about this huge amount of money, which is $3 billion, which is like pennies today in terms of American government spending, and it's actually very small in terms of Israel's GDP, right? And it goes anyway into American companies. Everybody knows that. But I myself also would like to see the end of that assistance because I want Israel to be more independent. I've always wanted that. I've called for that for years. Now Netanyahu is saying that it could be finished in 10 years. I've said immediately, let's get rid of it now. Let's stop with this $3 billion so that people like Cenk cannot accuse us of these lies anymore, even though this money goes back into America. Who needs it? You know, it makes way too much trouble. Okay, I don't, and I, by the way, would like to diversify our arms. He said that now there's not enough munitions and armament. Hey, I'd like to buy from others as well. I'd like to diversify. I can't have it. You know, Cenk's candidate may be president of the United States tomorrow. That could happen. That could happen. He's, as I said before, he's very talented at brainwashing Americans, and there's no doubt about that. You know, AOC could be president of the United States, and I have to make sure, that Israel is independent from that. even though I respect and love the United States and tremendously appreciate its values and it has helped us grow so much. By the way, Israel in 100 years has traversed from the Turkish sphere to the British sphere to the Soviet Union for a short time, and then to the French, and then to the U.S. We've been in many power struggles and power changes, and we've been able to navigate them. And if Cenk gets his way, and the U.S. decouples from Israel, we'll have to either be more independent and strong ourselves, or find other partners. I hope that Cenk is not able to do that, because I believe that he and his cohorts will destroy and shrink inextricably the United States of America. He will weaken its power. When he says America first, when he says decouple from Israel, what he means is decouple from allies like Israel. And Taiwan and others are looking at this. Taiwan and others are looking at this, and they're saying, oh my God, if the U.S. is going to turn its back on Israel, it's only going to turn its back on us for this reason or another reason. So global allies understand that American power is shrinking. And one of the leaders of that shrinkage is the man that I'm debating today. He wants to shrink American power. What do you need? And he is going, if America let them, he will be successful.
On the money being sent to Israel, you wanted to respond to that particular point, and more important, and a bigger question is, what do you need to see to care less about Israel?
I think that maybe I need to be.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good question, and since we're almost out of time here, so let's.
We can keep going. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
We got another guest in 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, look, brother, I keep busting you up all day, all night.
You're busting me up? I didn't know. Thank you for telling me. I appreciate that. I thought I was busting you up.
Well, that's right, because
that wasn't
that's
it.
Reality.
That wasn't it. Okay. You're busting me up. I didn't know.
Okay.
I feel
All
okay.
right. So here we go. So number one, Netanyahu says we don't want any more of your money except for another 10 years.
I'm against it.
Okay, great. We have an agreement there. But that's not the real world. In the real world, by the way, American media helps Netanyahu lie every day. They're like, oh, Israel doesn't want any more money. Except 10 more years. Why do they have a right to our money for 10 more years? They don't have any right to our money, okay? No, we should not spend $1 more to Israel because it makes us weaker. We should keep it at home to make our country stronger, not their country stronger. And in fact, it doesn't even help their country in the long run. And then they have this hilarious talking point about, oh yeah, we've taken over $320 billion from you guys, but that just only helps you. Well, if that's true, that's great. I have a wonderful strategy. Let's just reverse it so we can help Israel. You give us the $320 billion back, and you know what? We'll buy it from, as you're giving it to us as a gift, we'll use Israeli manufacturing, etc. It'll build up your economy. Give us the money back. Oh, right, you won't, because it didn't help us, it helped you. That's obvious. Like, look at the things they try to trick you into, and then they say, we're not doing tricks, oh, that's anti-Semitic to say that. No, we're not talking about anybody but Israelis. And Zionist, as you mentioned, is a nationalistic project. And that's the problem with nationalism gone awry and amok like this. So then you get to the $8 trillion in wars that we did for them. The global war on terror was the global war on Israel's neighbors. So when are we getting our $8 trillion back? That is a huge part of the debt in America. That has made us so much weaker. Now we're out of defensive missiles, we're out of offensive missiles, and that's not just in this war, that's throughout the world, because we spent it all trying to help Israel do this unnecessary war against Iran so they could be a regional superpower and maybe even a global superpower, as Netanyahu said, so that they can take more territory, which Yishai admits they're taking more, and they're going to keep on taking more under the guise of self-defense, as they have nukes, they have Iron Dome, we've given them so much, they already have a great military. And not only do they take $3.8 billion a year, on top of that, Biden gave them $21 billion to continue the genocide, because yes, AIPAC is the #1 lifetime donor of Joe Biden. And then Donald Trump gave him another $13 billion. That's because the Israeli lobby is the #1 lifetime donor of Donald Trump. These are just facts. Facts are not anti-Semitic. Big pharma, big oil, defense contractors also give tons and tons of money. When the defense contractors and the Israeli lobby get together, you're going to have endless wars. And we elect presidents, but they're both honestly funded by the Israeli lobby. Our Congress is. So they have used that power, the Israelis, to rob us blind. So what we should do is decouple in every way, not only not give them a single more dollar, we should not merge our military technologies. That allows them to take about $1 trillion off of us. That's the money we're spending on defense, and they're going to get all of that technology for free. We get nothing from them. They should not even be an ally. We should not enable their warmongering throughout the region. And at the end of the day, if we defund Israel and decouple from Israel, of course it's going to help America, because we're going to stop the robbery, first of all. And by the way, the fact that the world hates Israel is relevant because all their bombs say made in the USA. So we're getting blowback from the rest of the world that we don't need at all, just to help Israel's imperial ambitions in the Middle East. It's mental. And then, of course, it helps the Palestinians, the Lebanese, and everyone else in the region get to peace if you stop enabling Israel's worst instincts. But finally, it would also actually help Israel if they could snap out of this mania that they're in. Fascism goes throughout the world. It was in Germany, it's now in Israel, but it's been in many places. It doesn't have to do with religion or nationality. It has to do with power dynamics. And right now we have aided and abetted Israel's worst instincts and gotten them to attack and kill so much.
Let me answer all this capola. Mario,
I'll give you time to answer them.
Okay. So since their
Maine's rural hospitals are struggling, but Senator Susan Collins came to the rescue, delivering critical federal funding for upgraded facilities and life-saving diagnostic equipment. Susan Collins does her job, and our hospitals benefited. Call and thank her for delivering for Maine.
didn't need to do any of that. Just go to the 1967 borders, and you'll have the safe haven in Israel that you've always wanted.
I'll have Yishai, and I know you have to jump off, Cenk. Just a couple of minutes, Yishai, before the next guest jumps in as well. We'd like you to respond to this.
The first thing is that America, if you want to trust a atheist, socialist, Jew baiter who wants to do nothing but in this whole conversation, as usual, just scapegoat the Jews. If you want to trust this guy to bring you wealth and peace, you're in for a surprise. This guy is not going to bring you wealth and peace, and he has no understanding of what happens here in the region. He just told you right now that he thinks it's a great idea for us, the Jewish state, to give away the highland, the mountains of Judea and Samaria, and give them over to the so-called Palestine, which we did in Gaza to empower the jihad. He nods his head, but at the end, this guy praised Khomeini. He is a guy who is an undercover. He's a sheep in wolf's clothing. No, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay? No. There are people who are sadly sheep in wolf's clothing, and that's some of our leaders who talk a big talk, but I would like to see them take more action. But you are, of course, a wolf in sheep's clothing. You talk nice about peace. You don't know crap about peace. You don't understand this region. You don't speak the language of this region. You're not of this region. You don't understand that. You want us to give away our land to the jihad. You want to empower the jihad globally. You are a front for the jihad, a secular, atheist, socialist, because that's called the Red-Green Alliance. We all know about it. We all understand it. You're a danger to the United States. You're a danger to Israel. And all of your scapegoating of the Jews is all a lie. The Jews have been a blessing to the United States. Israel's been a blessing to the United States. Israel defends the United States. And that's why people like Marco Rubio calls Israel the aircraft carrier, the front aircraft carrier for Israel against jihadism, against Al-Qaeda, against ISIS, against Hamas, against Hezbollah. These are American killers. These are the Iranian regime. And you stand as their defender in a soft way, in your wolf in sheep's clothing way. That's the way you do it. In your see-through. You didn't batter me up. You showed again and again your endless lies. And I want to tell you something that you may or may not understand. And I don't care if you do. Am Yisrael Chai, we will be here. We'll be here with a third temple. We'll be here making medical innovation. We'll be here giving rights and decencies to Arabs around here. We'll have tourism around here. We'll have water desalination. We'll have education. We'll have roads. We'll have them today. Today I was in the hospital for my kid, okay? And today I saw Arabs getting treated. IVF for Arabs. It doesn't happen in Arab countries for Jews. So we do it. And that is exactly the light of Israel. And we shall defeat you. And I will be around to see the end of your reign and regime, and this country will be around for that. We shall go on through all the challenges as we have throughout time, and that is our legacy, and that is God's promise. You don't want to believe it, you want to think about some invisible God. It's too bad that you don't hear his voice. It would do you good. Yishai, Cenk,
so
pleasure to have you both.
No one is whispering no invisible person is whispering in my ear, kill people, kill people.
It doesn't
Take
whisper.
their land.
Does bring
Okay.
light from Jerusalem. Too bad you can't see it.
The light of bombs. Anyway, our positions have been crystal clear. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it.
Jank, thank you for your time. Ishai, thank you for your time
Thanks,
as well.
Stank. Thank you,
guys.
Mario.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Take care.
Shalom.
All right, guys. Aaron David Miller will be live with Brendan Weicker in a couple of minutes for the next interview. So you'll be with Brendan Weicker and Aaron David Miller. Bye.
I hate my fucking life, man. I motherfucking piece of shit. I like this. It's so fucking embarrassing, man. How do you mess
Oh,
that up?
what's it easy?
So now we go back. We're good. We're good. Everything's fine. And now I should be able to go all the way over. Nice. I don't know if I have to do that or not. I'm assuming I don't. Gotcha. I fucked up my jump there. I'm surprised I never. Easiest game of my life. Too easy for me. What's this? Swedish is control criminals. You got the head, right? Ooh, this could be the boss. This is 100% the boss. Yes. I'm gonna get my heals back. Because I use 4 heals. And I'm gonna get the laser beam. Like I'm gonna be totally ready to. I'm ready for this. Give her a 10. There you go. One coin. Oh, I finished the new one. Damn. Damn, I'll make the whole thing for her. Oh my god, look at all that. Wow, damn. And I can't do any of the upgrades. And so let me go over here and see that I'm thinking that we upgrade. Oh man, I'm thinking that maybe we could potentially
Go.
possibly upgrade
Oh,
the drone.
son of a.
Let's upgrade the drone.
So
And that way the drone is maxed
close.
out, and then we'll upgrade. We could do the hacking gauge too. Like, I don't really know which one's better. Like, I think I'm gonna use the. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do repairs because like repairs are guaranteed gonna be good no matter what. Probably I should have got that one. Thrusters, that's alright. I don't need to worry about that. I'm ready to ball out. Let's go. Okay, and we got all the weapons set up. Everything's perfect. Honestly, like, I think that this is... You know what? I'm gonna just swap over. Like, I don't really like... I never use this code generator shit anyway.
I can keep in touch with all of you guys because, you know, we've got to do what we've got to do, and I absolutely don't want to lose touch with the very beautiful and close-knit community we have. You guys have been there since the very beginning. You guys have been there for 16 weeks, yeah? 4 months you've been with me on this journey, walking right by my side. So at some point we have to make sure that we gather everybody who watches. So everyone who's watching now, we're going to have to get you either in the Telegram or the Facebook group, or get everybody in one place, or I will have to make notes of all of you, get you all in one place so that we don't lose that, because that's very important. You know, you've all been there from the beginning, and I know that I am going to put my heart and soul in this. It will go. We will get millions and millions of people rallying to this cause. I know it's going to do it. So, anyway. Right, guys. Let's go back into present. So, Bracken. Okay? Bracken. That's okay, Free Queen. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you tuned into all of them or one of
It's
them.
for a
You
good
are one of the
cause.
people of our community. Doesn't matter if you had other stuff on. You're one of the community. You're with us, and you're a part of that list. Anybody who was watched even for 5 seconds is a part of that list. Okay, so there's no worries about how much or how little we've watched. You're all a part of it. Love you all dearly. You're here. You know, it is because of you guys, the support you've given me, both financially, both time, both energy, both presence, the whole lot. You've been there from day one. Yeah, that speaks volumes. The Great Global Garden was born because of you guys, and it is doing what it's doing now because of you guys. You know, hold that in your heart. Yeah, how's that for dedication and effort? That's because of you. So there you go. Right, this is Bracken. Not only is Bracken not particularly beneficial, you know, it'll have little bits, but it isn't that beneficial. But it's really good at keeping slugs away. So Chris uses it to layer over his beds to give it a mulch over the top, and so yeah, fascinating. Nika, we are all part of this beautiful round table with our. Oh, bless you, Nika. That's a very sweet, very humbling comment. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. We're all one big global family. Absolutely, Mama. Absolutely. Okay then. So yeah, different types of vegetables over here. He mentioned this was not amaranth, but some kind of a grain. So another thing that he was growing was certain bits of grain that I hadn't come across before. Lucas was aware of them, but I wasn't. So yeah, just really, really beautiful. So you can see all around here. Didn't get a chance to identify these trees, but he's got a whole variety. He has a full ecosystem that he lives inside of. You know, just outstanding. This here is comfrey. You see this here? This is all comfrey. This is what he uses for his comfrey tea. So not the drinking tea, but the nutritional tea. So you can make a compost tea using comfrey, which is really good to spray on plants. It's good with microorganisms. It's good to keep the ecosystem beneficial. Keeps away diseases and pests. Gives the nutrients, etc.
That scared the fuck out of me. Holy shit.
Yeah, something's glowing.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What? Really? This has a question mark. Oh, I see. This is lunar.
Luna's the orb used to make lunar filament, right?
Yeah. There's no single person.
Well, I thought lunar filament inside me too, right?
I don't know, you can do anything, so sure. Guess it's possible.
Can I do anything?
Yes.
Maybe not. Maybe
No.
not until you're doing good enough. You're a woman, of course not. Hey, what's this?
We're finally gonna regain peace.
Oh shit, it's time. Okay, alright, let's go. Damn thing's getting on my last nerve. Oh, he's trying to cheat. He's trying to hook up on her? Alright, hold it. Hold it. People who used to work for OpenAI. Sam Altman is using AI to spawn aliens through portals. That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably definitely true. Of course it's true.
there's a certain amount of passive rally around the flag effect. Once the war stops, I think it is then and only then that we will begin to see whether or not this regime, in its new incarnation, will be able not just to govern, but to survive. They will survive in a wartime situation. Much harder when the bombs are not flown.
But doesn't that also lend itself, though, to the idea if they require in Tehran, the regime, sort of this, whether it's kinetic or even just economic warfare, doesn't that mean maybe Washington should take its foot off the gas and actually try to stabilize things, kind of put the onus back on the government in Iran? Because if they're this brittle without the war, it's a wartime situation. You remove the war, how likely is it that regime will be able to pivot, even if they were normalized quickly?
I mean, I don't see the regime as brittle.
Throughout history.
I mean, in 6 months,
bringing the
there's
security
no
and
fracture
surveillance and education that so many try to stop. Because when you think
Everyone
about
who
it,
talks about regime change in Iran
what they can
believes
get away
that
with.
is
Yeah,
one
like
element
here,
of
they just
successful
kill us
regime change.
without
There's
trying
got
to
to
be under the
significant
radar.
dissension within
They
the
just kill
security
us.
ranks. The
Like
second
they do over
element,
there
though,
in other
is
places
the
where they
president's
don't
or
have
absence
the
in this
policing
case,
or security
organized,
systems and
effective
weaponry that we have.
political opposition.
Right, so
that
when you
is
start to
able
understand that, you
to mobilize the streets and
just a simple
somehow
education system. We have a lot of
capitalize
schools
or
here
exploit
learning about Peace
on
Corps,
the division within
humanitarian
the
stuff,
security.
basic
I
education,
don't. There are no
integrating
signs.
technology.
I agree.
Nature.
I
It's
agree.
really
I
a
don't
beautiful
see.
thing. It's sad to
I mean,
see
look,
so many
time is the
completely
ultimate
shut off from
arbiter.
that.
If the economic blockade were kept on,
Yeah, I mean,
for the
they
next
have
year,
a phone in their hand. I know.
and the Iranians could not sell their oil, and you had hard currency
They're talking to
draw,
people. They're
dry up,
socializing. I know.
and you ended up with hyperinflation. And land borders are no substitute, both to export or to import. Who knows what pressures could result? But the administration, is in a hurry. And I think right now, I think the Iranians are miscalculating if they think the midterms are some sort of sacred date for Donald Trump. I don't think he wants a way out, but I don't think he is going to take one which leaves a legacy in which the Straits, free and unfettered on February 28th, are now to some degree, to a large degree, constrained, and none of his other objectives. New York Times ran a story yesterday, or the day before, in which they argued that within a year, they had one of my colleagues at Carnegie, James Acton, saying within a year, Iran could actually produce a weapon. And that's given the setbacks of the industrial scale centrifuges and the difficulties of miniaturizing the warhead, the computer modeling, the delivery system, all of these things.
It is true.
And given the hard power in Tehran, it may well be that this will accelerate
we don't need human contact.
Desire for weapon, not
shut down the
retarded.
school mandate people who
So
are preaching about the importance of
I
human
think that
contact.
we are in a situation
You're fucking psycho.
of
psycho.
no massive escalation
Nasty person.
and no
Stop.
diplomacy, no serious diplomacy.
I'm listening
I
to
agree.
this right
I
now. What are
agree.
you
And
doing?
the only reason I asked about what I
Anything
did is
good?
because I am hearing from people
Big
like
plans for
people
tomorrow.
affiliated
Another
with the
business
administration
day.
or close to the administration that this is sort of the thinking, and now we're seeing Al Jazeera reporting it. You're saying it, and it just to me, the president and his team have made every wrong assumption from the beginning of the war. So I keep telling people, why assume that they're going to start making the right assumptions? And I think this is just another example of that.
Right. I mean, right now it's the least destructive set of assumptions.
But they're also running an economic blockade on us.
They are.
Yeah.
But it's extraordinary the degree to which oil has remained within relatively manageable bandwidths. I mean, part of it has to do with the restriction that the Chinese have placed on imports. Part of it has to do with the fact that at least 5 million barrels of the 15 are getting through the southern route, through ship-to-ship transfers. Part of it has to do with the availability of what they call prompt or physical oil, not oil on contract, but oil that is immediately available. Part of it has to do with the administration messaging. I mean, it's amazing to me every time I turn around, pieces a day away, which manages the markets. And there's always a lag between futures on crude and the actual price of a barrel. Now, could that change if this lasted 4 or 5 more months? You'd think.
Yes.
Yeah. I would also posit that I just 2 hours ago interviewed Philip Pilkington, who's a commodities expert. He said that, and he's a China expert too, he said that basically when Trump put on the Mao suit and met with the Chinese, that was actually the meeting.
In the ICU, I've seen patients being bankrupted by the cost of care. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump.
Assurances that the memorandum of understanding that Vance at the time was negotiating would be upheld. And now that Trump kind of broke that, the Chinese came back on the market, and all of the calculations that the Department of the Commerce and Department of Treasury had made about we can get through with the SPR and the oil markets will be fine through the midterms, that's all out the window because China is again purchasing energy from the market, open market. Right. So how does, because what I'm getting at here is we're running an economic blockade on them, but they're also running an economic blockade on us. And it seems like it's poised to do a lot more damage in the near term to us than anything we're going to do to them.
Us being the United States.
The United States and the rest of the world, really.
Well, the rest of the world for sure.
Yeah.
Inflationary cycles, you've got, millions of people plunged into poverty, and unemployment rising because of the disruption in supply chains. I'm not an economist, and I don't play on television, but I just don't see let's assume that that's correct. The issue then is, will the administration be moved in some way, shape, or form by these economic pressures in order to, well, you fill in the blank, to do what? I mean,
here comes another
he
win.
won't walk away, and he cannot cut a deal, in my view. I mean, Iran has undermined the legacy of one president in particular, Jimmy Carter. And it is well positioned, it seems to me, to undermine the legacy of another,
Ooh, I got
Donald Trump. Because if it is true that the Iranian weaponization of geography has created a situation where they are now in control of what gets in and have supervisory oversight about what gets out, and can use that in any number of ways to embarrass, humiliate, leverage the Gulf states as a source of revenue. I just think the guys running the railroad in Tehran have latched on to control of the straits as the real trophy and manifestation of not only their victory, but the defeat of the United States. And I think that narrative is extremely important in the battle for legitimacy that will be waged, presumably, once the war winds down or ends. And I have to say one other point. There are no transformational, no Hollywood endings here. The U.S. under Republican and Democratic administrations, and I've worked and voted for both, have been engaged with the Islamic Republic in a 50-year struggle. That struggle is defined not by transformative endings, but by transactional ones. You have a joint comprehensive plan of action, which lasts for 3 years. You have quiet understandings between the Biden administration and the regime. You have the June War. You have the U.S. strikes against nuclear sites. And now you have what is clearly the most consequential round. But it is only a round. This is not going to end in a way that normal humans would regard as, we've reached some new inflection point with this regime, and from here on in, it's either downhill all the way or the struggle. Well, the struggle goes on, is my point.
Do you think that the Trump administration is miscalculating when they say, well, we've got the economic war, that'll be enough. That'll force them in Iran to be more compliant. Do you think that
only time will tell. Today, all kinds of pressure points seem to have only emboldened the regime.
Exactly.
I mean, the Supreme National Security Council published new demands. They've now linked Palestine, Lebanon, and Yemen to their list of deliverables. Some of that's in the MOU. I just think it's been I pointed out to somebody the other day, maybe I've written this, that if there was a university that handed out degrees for strategic malpractice, the Trump administration would graduate summa cum laude. I mean, without a doubt, I was around for both the Bush 41 war with Iraq and for at least the beginning of the Bush 43 war, the second Iraq war. And circumstances were different in both. But when you launch a war of choice, not that Iran was not a problem, but was it an imminent threat to the security and prosperity of the United States? The answer is no, it wasn't. When you launch a war of choice, the metrics for success are much more severe than when in fact war is foisted upon you. And I might add, the last war that was kind to an American president and left the United States.
Disturbing news about threats of violence against women. Is it Graham Plattner again? No, it's Troy Jackson. When a female legislator disagreed with Jackson, he threw a water bottle at her in anger. The woman was deeply frightened. Jackson was known for bullying, and his screaming felt like intentional intimidation. His brash conduct with women raised alarm bells about his temperament. Troy Jackson, another phony we can't trust. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Sing action.
Or at least it didn't require a vote from Congress.
Yeah, I should have, but it didn't.
I think actually, technical point here, don't shoot me, but somebody corrected me when I made this, when I said that you gotta go consult Dr. ChatGPT or Claude or whoever you consult. Ask it whether or not we actually sought a declaration of war against Romania in 1943. I think we may actually have done that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, but please do, Brandon.
I'm curious by that. Anyone in the audience watching wants to do that, feel free to put it in the comments.
An official declaration of war against Romania in 1943.
Isn't that something? Well, and it goes to show you, they get a lot of flack, but, Congress has, I say this as a former staffer, Congress has a lot of important roles that it could perform for the country that it either is excluded from performing or very often excludes itself.
Look, but let's be clear, and I'll say it again for you and your listeners and viewers. I voted for Republicans and Democrats, and I worked for Republicans and Democrats. In a binary political system, which we have, you need two functional parties willing to commit to certain principles. You cannot have one party.
Okay, let's go.
That essentially, even though the Democrats have their own liabilities, to be sure, you can't have one party as a sort of political cult, enthralled and beholden to one president. You can't have that.
Yep.
And we do have that.
Especially a president who is very mercurial and who, unfortunately I supported him, but this has been a disaster, and this is like absolutely not how it's supposed to be done. We had my friend Matthew Ho, who's a former Marine. He was a whistleblower on the Afghan war, but he worked in D.C. He worked at the State Department too. But we were talking the other day that whatever you think about him, President Obama had a real process. He had an institutional process for coming to decisions. That is not the case here with the Trump administration. It's sort of ad hoc.
No, but the Republicans have also had a functioning system. I mean, I work for former Secretary of State James Baker. Just a little vignette, because I'm convinced a critical quality for a president is curiosity. Right? He's got to know what he doesn't know, and he's got to be in a hurry to find out.
Yeah.
So I'm a young intelligence analyst, State Department, 1983. Phone rings. Next voice I hear is hold, is White House sit room. So I'm holding. The next voice I hear is the following. Aaron, this is Vice President George H.W. Bush. I know you're busy, but I read one of your memos on Lebanon. Do you have a few minutes to talk about it? So, knowing what you don't know, Kennedy used to call the INR analysts at State as well when he wanted a different view or wanted to pursue something, a question about Vietnam. You don't have curiosity, and you have a Secretary of State, unlike the half a dozen that I work for. Basically, is MIA in the administration's most dire foreign policy crisis.
Yes.
Marco Rubio should be managing the envoys. Marco Rubio should be the central station for managing both the diplomacy, relations through he's also national security advisor with the other.
Do you think that's complicating his ability to run the State Department? Because my understanding is he's not physically at State very often.
Run the State Department. The State Department is increasingly being hollowed out. Look, Baker used to tell us he just wanted it clear. He was not the State Department's man at the White House. He was the White House's man at the State Department. But he used the building. He really did. And more than that, he was a great negotiator, and he had a personal relationship with the president. I mean, it's the national security decision-making structure of this administration is fundamentally flawed. You have the president's best friend and his son, who have been deployed to negotiate the three of the most complicated conflicts in the international system: Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, and U.S. Iran. And they're all failing.
Well, and I'm getting a text from the producer. It's 3:31. You have a hard out, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just close this. So the producer just texted me. The United States formally declared war on Romania on June 5th, 1942. During World War II, Congress passed the declaration after Romania had already declared war on the U.S. on December 12, 1942.
When our veterans were left out in the cold, Susan Collins secured $3.6 billion to help end veteran homelessness. With her dedication, Susan Collins secures victories time and again for our veterans. Tell Senator Susan Collins to keep championing solutions for Maine's veterans.
Everything else we've done has not really benefited us.
And the rest is history.
Well, Aaron, I know you have to go. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hope we can do this again. I'll be filling in for Mario more and more these days as he's traveling. So I really appreciate your time. He is Aaron David Miller. He's an author as well. I used to have to read his books in college. I've read a couple of those.
You're dating me.
So thank you for doing this. I'm Brandon Weichert, at We the Brandon. The Weichert Brief is my Substack. Please like and subscribe. And to the producers, I will be here for Larry in 30 minutes, so I will be here for that. So thank you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Really good discussion. Oh, he's a former negotiator.
Honestly, I'm just gonna.
That makes sense.
Hey, get on the ground! Get on the ground!
If you're going to play the sovereign citizen game, it's really not a good idea to play chicken with losing your window and going to jail. Especially if you have a white powdery controlled substance inside your car that's illegal in every state and federally. This is one of those.
How's it going, man? Deputy Souther, the sheriff's office. Hey, reason for the traffic stop, man. You drive down the road, you didn't have any lights on. You got them on now.
I just turned them on because
it's
starting to get dusk out.
Okay. You have driver's license on you, sir?
I don't know why you pulled me over.
I just explained that to you, sir. You didn't have your headlights on. Sorry, man. That truck was loud. Can you repeat?
They were on way before you pulled me over.
Okay. I understand that.
I realized it was starting to get dust and I turned it on, so.
No problem, man.
That's cool.
Do you know how I feel about this leaning inside the window in the cavalier manner, exposing head and torso, and not necessarily in the position that we train on the range? Now, if he trains on the range like that, clearing a car door from leather, I don't know that he does, but if he does, good. But this is not the normal practice, and what I believe to be the safest practice, because there's no cover. Behind that B-pillar, behind that door jamb, much safer place.
You're right. It's not something I'm worried about writing you a ticket for or anything. I just need to see your driver's license and insurance for the vehicle.
It's not a lawful stop, so I really don't have a reason.
Okay, sir, I'm not going to sit here and debate this and hold court with you on the side of the road, okay? Sir, I can provide you with a phone number to contact my supervisor, but he's not going to come out to the traffic stop right now.
I'm requesting a supervisor.
Okay, sir, I just need a driver's license from you. That's it, okay? I don't want to cause any trouble or anything like that, okay?
Because it wasn't a lawful stop.
65, you start another.
I believe the officer's right-handed. Key in the mic with the gun hand, I'm not a fan of that. You always practice to utilize offhand. However, if the officer is left-handed, I believe he utilize the correct hand.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Okay, sir, I don't want to cause any trouble today, okay? I don't want to write you a ticket for the headlights, okay? I just need to see your driver's license and insurance for this vehicle, okay? I don't plan on writing you any tickets for it, okay?
For my license because I didn't do anything wrong.
Okay,
Why, like they just started pacing all of a sudden?
Hey, I'm good. I got a trooper on scene.
Why can't these people understand? Like he's talking to himself.
I understand
like,
that you think that
play a
you
little
didn't
bit
do
of
anything
reverse
wrong,
psychology
okay?
on these motherfuckers. Please tell me they're allowed to do that. I know they're
At
not.
one point, you were driving on a public roadway
Can I ride along?
without your headlights on when headlights were required. Okay? Just because you turned your headlights on before I turned my red and blue lights on does not mean that you didn't do anything
Start
wrong.
pacing.
Because it's still daylight out.
Why is it? These people don't understand basic traffic laws.
Every other vehicle that we passed while I followed
First, my wife leaves me.
You were the only vehicle that did not have any headlights.
TV, shit the bed.
I'm going to ask you one more time for your driver's license, okay?
I did not do anything wrong.
I notice the officer has his wristwatch on his right hand, so maybe he is left-handed.
I'm not going to debate you on the reason that I stopped you anymore. Okay, I am just requesting a driver's license.
Stop if you don't have a reason to stop.
Just start going off the rails on a crazy train.
Now you're threatening because you're not complying with a lawful order.
It's not a lawful order.
60% of sales on Amazon.
Oh, it's a machine gun. That's why I kept getting that. I was like, why is it like I thought I noticed the first time. I didn't know this is the second type of weapon. Okay, that's good. At least the bombs aren't that hard to kill, right? Like, these aren't that bad. Oh, shit. Oh my god, they're gonna give me this gun? I'm gonna get through this. I'll try to steer. Oh my god. This is so hard. Wait, did I get it? Here it goes now.
I'm Deputy Sadler with the Sheriff's Office, 13800. I can't hear you. I'm telling you, I can't hear a word you're saying. You need to get out of the vehicle now, or you will be placed in...
Like a
Alright. Is that window down? No.
Roll the window up, now it's a barricade.
He's just refusing to get out, so... Identifying himself, I'll get out of the vehicle. Will you roll this window down so we can talk?
Was it bleeding orange blood?
Are you getting out of the car or not? Okay.
That's way.
I have a reason, okay? And I am going to give you one more lawful order to give me your driver's license and exit the vehicle, or I'm going to break the window and you are going to be pulled out of the window.
I practice my civil rights, and I don't I mean, it's an unlawful stop.
Okay, I already told you I'm not going to stand here and debate debate this with you and hold court on the side of the road, sir. Okay? I have given you umpteen opportunities to just provide identification. That's all you have to do at this point. Okay, sir.
Take note of the speed of the vehicles that are going by and whizzing by the officers while this guy's doing this thing with them. It's just really unacceptable.
I am going to break your window, and I'm going to drag you out of your window if you do not comply. And I know this isn't your car, so go for it.
This is my girlfriend's car.
Okay. What is your name?
Yeah, I'm surprised because this seems like
Can you
20
just tell me
years
what your
ago.
first name is? Okay. You're going to exit this vehicle.
It doesn't seem
and you're
like there's
going to
a lot
identify
of
yourself
interactive
one way or
stuff.
another.
I mean, I know it looks busy, but there's not a lot of... Yeah, it's just pretty much...
Okay, sir, I've already told you I'm not going to debate you on the reason I pulled you over tonight, okay? I have it on video of the infraction that you made. Well, it's kind of hard for you to do that sitting in your driver's seat, sir. Okay, we're going to break this guy's window and pull him out. My sergeant's en route. He's got some less lethal options. He's got some glass breaker rounds and things. He's probably just going to pop the window open. We'll pull him out. Here's the deal, man. I don't have the tools to get you out of the vehicle safely, okay? But my sergeant, who's just down the road, okay, he has some glass breaking rounds that he's going to use on your vehicle if you don't exit, okay? But okay, that's fine. Then I will. Okay, that's fine. Then you stay right here, and when my sergeant gets here, I will tell him that you want to talk to him. Does that work for you? Okay. All right. Because I can tell you right now, you'd much rather have the conversation with me than with him. He's on his way. I just told you that. Okay. All right. Cool. He's gonna wait for the sergeant with glass breaking rounds to get here. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, here's the deal, man. Here's my sergeant. You wanted to talk to him, Sarge. That window doesn't roll down. I told him he'd rather have the conversation with me than with Sergeant Haynes. So.
I don't want to get you hurt. I don't want to get anybody out of here hurt. You understand that? Do you understand that? I do not want to hurt you, and I damn sure don't want to get anybody hurt out here. Then step out of the vehicle. You are the person. You are the person that is making that decision. That's what you want.
Now, this guy is clearly making things far more complicated than they need to. Just like how Medicare companies make things extra complicated in order to steer possibly millions of people into the wrong plan, which is exactly why I want to talk to you all about Chapter. You see, finding the right Medicare plan can be extremely confusing. And because of that, many people end up overpaying or missing out on benefits they didn't even know were available to them. However, with Chapter, you get access to independent, salary-based advisors who compare every plan available to you and help you work towards finding the options that best fit your needs. I even recently...
Dirigo Federal Credit Union was born and raised here in Maine. And like Mainers, we're built on grit and a lot of gumption. We know your name, we know your story, because real community starts by knowing one another. Visit us today and experience the Dirigo difference.
Moving? Spectrum makes it simple. With the most reliable fiber-powered internet for just $40 a month. Set up your internet in under 10 minutes. Just internet you can count on. Click and make the move today.
Recently got a comment from a retired military viewer of the channel who says their 5-minute call to Chapter helped them get everything they needed and save them money. The call to them is completely free and there's no pressure to switch if you don't need to. In fact, if you already have the right plan, they'll tell you. So call Chapter today at 844-533-6078. Again, that's 844-533-6078 and help finding the plan that's right for you.
No, you are required to identify yourself during a traffic stop. Sir, step out of the vehicle now. I'm giving you multiple opportunities.
If it was a lawful order, I would.
Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest. You are under arrest. Step out of the vehicle. Turn off your vehicle.
It looks like we got a sergeant shut down. Hopefully he formulates a plan to get this guy out of the car quickly and safely.
Turn off your vehicle. Because I'm telling you to turn off your vehicle. Put the keys up on the dash. Now step out. Stop the game. Step out. Stop the game. Stop the game, sir. Sir, stop the games.
This isn't games, it's my rights.
Okay, well, you're under arrest, and I told you we will use force to remove you.
My rights.
Okay? We will use force to remove you. Do you understand that?
I want everybody to take that.
I don't care what you want. I want you to identify yourself. I don't care. I've given you multiple lawful commands.
You're not lawful when I don't break the law.
Step out of the vehicle. Step out. Step out. Break this window. I know I'm saying 45-gallon lumber if he's identify himself. We're going to use force to break this window. Let them know when these pepper uses pepper ball thing here, blast in the face.
He's going to use a pepper ball round. So it's just basically OC powder.
When people say OC powder, OC pepper spray, that's oleoresin capsicum pepper spray, which is a less than lethal or low lethal option that police can use, and it burns the eyes, closes the eyes, its heart makes it difficult to breathe, and it's very effective. However, the officers have to contend with that once it's deployed.
Right now, this is the traffic stop. I'm going to explain to you that numerous times. Numerous times. The silence.
I have OC if you want me to.
No, he's got it.
Why am I wrong?
No, I do not identify myself and I do nothing wrong.
Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle. Don't worry. I can get more here if you want. You made this the way it is. This is your decision. This was your decision, sir. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle. Where are you from? Ted?
There you go.
Sir, step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest. Step out of the vehicle.
I just got, dude.
Step out of the vehicle. Step out of the vehicle now. Step out of the vehicle. You're gonna get tased, yes.
Hey,
Get out! Get on the ground!
Get on the
Get
ground.
out! Get on the ground!
Get out the ground.
Get out! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Come on. Hey, where is this? Stop resisting. Stop. Hey, I need you to have my back.
Get on the ground there.
You guys are bitches, dude.
Get turned.
I do not consent to any searches of seizures. This is an unlawful stop.
In custody, those pepper balls are no joke. You notice how quickly he complied after he got that pepper ball on him. But here's my question to the sergeant. It looked like he's banging that window at least 10 times on the side of this busy road. Reaching tool was in his gun hand. So I asked this question because I don't know, how many times have you trained that breach of a vehicle? Because it can be trained, and I've mentioned this before. On a training day, you can go to a junkyard and say, hey, which vehicles are going to be junked? Stack your team on the side of these different vehicles. Break some windows. See how you pull people out of vehicles. Very effective. Document that training. It's a lot of fun for the guys, and it's a good opportunity to get some real-life, hands-on training with breaching windows and doing extraction. So kudos if they got the gal without anyone being seriously
entertained any of them. And when they're almost forced to. That's fucked up. I mean, that's what.
When a female legislator disagreed with Troy Jackson, he threw a water bottle at her in anger. Jackson was known for bullying, and his brash conduct with women raised alarm bells about his temperament. Troy Jackson, another phony we can't trust.
Driving is what drives me. When the day winds down, it's back to the daily drive. That's why I...
You want rescue?
Hey, can you get my bulk box? It's on the ground, dude.
Can you send us rescue, please?
We're not stepping on yet. This is right from the other pocket. Yeah, it's just right, not that pocket, the other one. Are you still recording with my phone? Because I want to record.
Yes, rescue, please.
Are you gonna work? Yeah. Let me know if you want to
Let's get him up and get out of the road.
Can my property get picked up, please?
Yeah, we'll make that happen. Come sit here on the pavement. Just have a seat. Just have a seat. Sit down. I'm not gonna let you fall.
I'd
have a
rather
seat.
stand.
All right, then lean up against the car. Stay with me, please.
The dog's going to have to deal with OC inside the vehicle as well. Anyone thing that breathes is affected by it.
Hey, leave the grass, please. Okay. Lots. We're gonna let that air out a little bit for you, pal. He's choking like the rest of us. Hey, stick it up, buddy. Stick it up. Stick it up. Check it. Hey, leave the funky grass, dude. He's revoked?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is that always that normal? It's just
And I do believe so. Sitting right here, I got a pipe in the car here. Can you, before we transport him and before he gets in an ambulance, we need to do a more thorough search of him?
So they said they found a pipe. So interesting thing about pipes, most jurisdictions it's a misdemeanor, just depends on the jurisdiction. But the key to the element in most jurisdictions is burnt residue inside of the pipe. So just sometimes having a glass pipe in a lot of jurisdictions is not going to be the crime. The burnt residue inside, which has to be documented, is what makes it a crime. Not every jurisdiction, but in most.
That's what he was. So when I walked up, I even made the comment on my initial approach. When I walked up, I said, "What are you reaching for, dude?" As I was walking up here, he was putting that bubble in there. Oh, there it is. That's a good amount too. We got a bunch of and a pipe and shit.
How much?
A couple grams. I mean, more. I mean, it's personal use probably. From what I've found.
So when they find the white powdery substances that are consistent with white powdery substance consistent with, there are field tests that we can utilize in the field to conduct those tests to confirm if it is. However, it still needs to go to a lab in most jurisdictions because the field tests are definitely not as accurate as what occurs inside the lab. With the field test, you take a small amount, you break little ampules, you aggregate the little plastic container that it's in, and then when you different colors, it tells you whether or not it comes back positive.
Where was he from? Local guy? And a scale. And a little box. And the ganja. That's what we're here for, right? Oh, he's got a bunch of cash, too.
So here the officer mentioned the charges, the driving revolt, the possession of, I think he mentioned the pipe as well. You have those kinds of things inside a vehicle and play the sovereign citizen game. That's just going to make it doubly felony stupid. If you know anyone will potentially fall down this rabbit hole, it always ends the same. Never ever seen it go differently. In the back of a police car on the way to jail, likely going to lose a window, either be tased, pepper sprayed, something bad is going to happen. It never works out well. So if you know someone that can fall down that rabbit hole, share the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the video that's on your screen for more content just like this.
Businesses in small towns grew more than 30% selling on Amazon, like Blue Track.
A volatile personality, anger issues
I
with
haven't
women,
seen
verbal
any
abuse. It's an
ganja.
underground
I'm
platinum
sure some
against
have done
Troy
it.
Jackson. Jackson has a hit.
Okay. Ganja blue. We have all different colors of the rainbow. This is ganja red. Red ganja. Orange ganja. Yellow ganja.
We're out of here. Oh, damn, was it grabbed? Deletion protocol. Okay, so it's just like way better. Alright, got it. Let's head back to the shelf and regroup. Okay. He's cooked? Yeah, he's a bit cooked. I guess it must be this one. Damn, that dude stressed me out. Let's see this guy.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
See how it says a lot, huh?
OE to charge, unleash, cleanse. Okay.
there'll be a line, and you're like, you're a habitual line stepper, and I love that.
At a very early age, I realized that the people in the front of the room are not very impressive.
I did not know that you were born in the Soviet Union.
You guys don't know how bad it can get. You don't know how evil it is.
When we think of a bad guy, he's got to be like Skeletor. He's got to be like an over-the-top man.
There's so many people who have that little bit of power, and they will hold on to it with every bit of fiber in their being. And that is something that
How do
aliens
we not
psyche.
know what that's like? You're America. That's fucking funny.
Okay, so first of all, for people who don't know, which is very few, because you are...
It's the worst
I
of
like
the
to
worst.
call you a truth teller.
No, thank you.
Because you just,
Right
you don't
here in
give...
America.
You give zero...
From what? I mean, just our own personal
You
perspective.
will say... And on the Gutfeld show, I always, like, when you're on, I know...
Right, you know
we're
what?
gonna get
Whatever
in some
third
kind of
world
trouble
country you
because
want to take me to,
I just feed off it. Like,
and the horrors
we'll make
you want
eye
to show
contact,
me,
there'll be a line,
probably
and you're like,
being
you're
done by
a habitual
horrible
line
business
stepper,
people.
and I love that. Because it's like, I'm not alone. Where, like, Greg and Kat kind of have breaks, so you'll go down that road, and I'll be like, let's go all in. Like, Jim Norton's like that. But you particularly, it doesn't matter what the group is, and then you'll back it up with some fact that everybody forgot about. Especially with the Clintons. Like, you will still say something, and you'll be like, boom, 1980. Like, you're like Anthony Hopkins. You just roll it out.
when
And everyone
people
will be
say
like, oh,
that,
yeah.
you
So
have
he has
no
every right
idea
to
how
make
bad
that
it
joke.
can
You
get.
know
And
what?
Americans have
Why
no
that's
idea
such a
what's
huge
coming.
compliment, because
And
I
over
feel
here,
that
like
some of the
human
people who are on that
beings,
show,
like,
you don't know their names or who they are.
being a
Because you're there
human
through your
being,
tyrant
the
stuff.
cycle
So
of
I'm
life.
like, I'm gonna make this guy see me, even though it's really hard. Hold on, because I'm so little.
The
And then I
struggles
remember
and the
I
perils
clowned
and
you
the
on some jokes,
turmoils.
and you appreciate it because I think people look at you,
Keeping
they
it
think
properly
you don't have a sense of humor
fed
about
and
yourself, and it's
watered
exactly
and
backwards.
balanced.
The big dudes are the one breaks. It's got to land.
And having the
athletes,
means
the
to
big dudes,
do
that's how they
so.
bust each other's
Look, back to
chops.
square one. See how you can end the
build friendships?
conversation really quick.
Because
That's
if
why
you can
it's
joke
not
with each
popular.
other about the obvious, it just, I can't stand people who want to be funny but
You
don't
know,
want
I
to
probably wouldn't be good for
take the joke back.
electrical work.
Like, everyone
You
wants to
probably
be the
wanna
guy
keep me
telling
away
the
from
joke. You gotta be able to take it.
Right, of course.
Speaking of locker room, so when I was in
I mean,
college
I
in Nebraska,
might be a benefit for
football
some
team,
things
it was like
when it comes
it
to
was
that,
an
but
influx of
overall,
brothers the year
yeah,
I was
I
there.
wouldn't put me
Kearney,
as-
Nebraska is not known for a huge African American community. We'll just say that. And they were trying to win, and they were bringing in all these JUCO kids, and I was one of them. And I said, "Hey, can my buddies?" So I had like 4 guys from a junior college come over.
That's interesting.
Yeah, just to do whatever.
Nebraska guys were kind of reserved at first. They were like very worried about saying the wrong thing and not wanting to come off a certain
Things to
way.
be done for
And
whatever.
getting them to
Time,
relax
space, location.
and just make fun of whatever.
Well, I'm just saying, if
'cause
you're
they
getting
were like,
ready
they thought their first name was Hey White Boy, dumbass white
to go
boy,
to a
white
picnic,
biscuit,
the
cracker,
things you're going to be
bread,
doing to prepare for that
mayonnaise,
might be
you know, like,
different
make
They still say Ofe? That's a 1920s
than if you're
word.
going
you would
to
say
church.
shit you would have to come up with
Okay,
a lot
yeah,
of 2
okay.
days to keep it with
Wow.
breathing. And then you could see them wanting
Right, the whole mindset,
and there's like, there
everything
was this
is
stigmatism
different.
that you couldn't make
It's
fun
either
of this black
thinking,
guy's
yay,
back.
picnic,
It
or
was bullshit. And I'll never
you went to
forget,
church to be over.
Corey Williams was our starting center. And I was teasing him because his face
Football
would get really
after,
red.
yay.
Like when he was hot and stuff.
I know,
he
see,
turned
that
really
makes
red.
it
And I
better,
heard
doesn't
redneck,
it?
but red face. You know, like,
Give a little, get a
it was the
little.
American
See,
thing. Like, we're laughing, joking around.
we're
and one day he just had it out.
learning.
And I was messing with him about something, and he was like, "Hey, graham cracker, shut up." And I just was like, "Damn!" Like, because I'm mixed. Graham cracker, that's good. And then we started laughing, and then from that day on, it was just the gloves were off, you know, and it was we played better together. Would be in the thing. If he needed me, he would no longer say my number or say anything. He'd be like, "Graham cracker." The other team didn't know what he was talking about.
White people who go to college are far more sensitive about racial jokes than black people. Because black people have a sense of humor.
Oh, now I do.
When you're poorer, like especially historically, humor's free.
Yeah,
having
we can all laugh.
right. So that's something. Music, humor. These are things poor people excel at. You go to other countries, they have a sense of humor because they don't got anything else. But at least you can be happy that way. If you go to college, you're taught every black person is one comment away from a race riot. You gotta walk on eggshells. And what ends up happening is you have this condescension toward black. I did 2 books with the comedian because I learned a lot from him. You have this condescension toward black people, and they're like, "You're seeing me like this thing instead of a person. You're scared to talk to me like a human being. This isn't much better because I know you're scared of me, and it's like that's kind of funny on one level. On the other hand, there's a wall. There's a wall. I can't talk to you like a person."
Yeah, and that's one thing that I loved about always having being in sports, because we were too busy
That's right.
Dying
Ren
out in
and
the field
Stimpy.
together, working together.
We'll
You
try to
can't
draw Ren
have
and Stimpy.
inhibitions with each other.
Right.
You have to be able to trust each other. It is a brotherly.
I probably do better
And you
with
got to be able to
Stimpy.
call it like you see it.
Ren.
You know. And
No, Ren has limbs
I love that.
and stuff.
It
I know
was a
Stimpy
little bit
does
of a
too, but I mean, it's just
shock
like,
to me when I got into entertainment, because I would make a joke
Look at the picture.
in the green room, just messing around, getting to know the guys, and I would see like the
Yeah, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to react.
and I was like, why? Like, man, just say whatever you want to say.
But also, if you're the one making the joke, how are they the one getting offended?
Yeah, I had 3 kids in 1 year. Fire away.
Yep, I'm going with Stimpy.
Like,
You do
You
Ren.
can't laugh. Like, I'm laughing about it. I'm not laughing every time child support comes around.
I do Ren.
You know what I'm saying? But like, and they'll be like, oh, you had
I'll
triplets.
just do both of them.
Not really. No, did not. You know,
It was a hat trick.
I outsourced 3 different uteruses. Yes, if it was hockey, it was a hat trick. But like, if I can
Look at
like
these ones.
laugh about it in terms of like accepting the responsibility
The
of being
toast head.
reckless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the
Toast
serious
head.
side of it.
Sure.
But like, if someone says, "How dare you bring that up?" You know, there's like, I'm not ashamed of my kids. You know,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they make jokes about it. Like, hey, Dad, you're lucky there was an extra month in the year because we would have had a 4th one. You know, and you're like, pretty good, kid.
Oh,
Not
those
bad.
are cute.
Not bad. So, but you do a great job of mixing strong intellect
Zen Ren?
with a hilarious punchline.
Well, thank you. That's
Ren and
Have
Stimpy.
you always been that way? Has that been like your
Zen Ren.
personality?
There's a book written about me called Ego and Hubris, a graphic novel.
Ren
It
and
came out in
Stimpy are
2006 by Summer
twisted.
Carter,
Another
Carter,
title
who's the
card
star
from
of
the new
Graphic
show.
And at a very early age, I realized that the people at the front of the room are not very impressive. And that applies for teachers, or principals, or politicians.
You know,
And
I
once
don't
you
have
understand that, a lot of other dominoes fall into
access to
place.
a lot of that
So I
content,
enjoy,
so-
being a smart-ass kid from Brooklyn, kind of putting these people in their place, and they didn't know what to do. So I think I always have been that way. It's something I enjoy a lot.
Now, this is the black flag comes in many colors. I already love it.
Well, it's gotta be black, right?
Yeah. The Anarchist Handbook.
Yes.
Are you an anarchist? Or are you just honest?
Well, anarchism is true, so yes, if you're honest, you're gonna be an anarchist, yes.
That's funny because you would think if you're honest, you'd be the hero.
What do you mean? The anarchist is the hero. What are you talking about?
Well, not in the current media.
Well, that's the propaganda.
Yeah.
The propaganda is the politician's the hero, and then you look around, and it's just nonsensical. Oh, I was in North Korea. I got the suit.
Yeah.
You've never been to North Korea?
No. Wait, twice last year.
It's the new Milan. You know, I went to Seoul, and North Korea was better. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
It was. You would have loved it because you'd beat Godzilla to them.
Yeah.
They've never
when
seen
I was
someone
in
your
Japan,
size.
I was called
yeah.
kaiju.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kaiju. And I was like, at first, like, huh? And then I was like, oh, I love it. Thank you. Yeah. So, okay, you're an interesting dude. So, you were born in. I'm only going off this because I guess my team looked this up. You were born in the former Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And then you immigrated as a child, and you grew up in New York.
Yeah.
And so you kind of understand the communism a little better than anyone else because it's your family lineage. You guys have to deal with it.
I wrote a book about it as well, The White Pill, which is the story of the rise and fall of the Soviet Union. And I did it because it was driving me crazy that so many people in conservative spaces were saying, like, Biden's a communist. But it's like, you guys don't know how bad it could get. You don't know how evil it is. When people say, like, America's destroyed or, like, the West is over, can you get bread? You know, you can go. This
is America. If you have a pistol and $20, you can get food.
Right.
One or the other, and it's 24/7.
Right. So when people talk about society being destroyed, you don't know what it's like to live in fear, to worry that there's going to be a knock on the door, that your kids will be taken to be used against you, or vice versa. Americans have no idea about this. So this is why I wrote that book, The White Pill, and it did speak to where I came from, because it's kind of like, as bad as you think it is, and things are very bad in very many ways in America, it could get way, way worse than it has, and the good guys end up winning. That's the story that isn't told.
I love the fact that this is a hard cover book.
And it glows in the dark.
Yeah, this is like...
You know, you can stop
so
breathing at any minute.
What do you like doing more? Do you like talking or writing?
You don't want to have
I like
too
talking
much of that kind of
because
fat.
writing takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, no, listen, yeah.
It's
You know, it's good to learn about the different kinds of
And the
fat.
thing I like about writing is the
See,
books
that
will be there when I'm
kind of
gone.
fat,
So they'll always
that's
be on
what
the
causes
shelf.
heart
But the
attacks.
thing I like about
It's
talking
mostly
is, and
in
I'm sure you have the
fatty
same
meats.
thing, when people are home watching it, they know it's spontaneous. that this is the thing I like. What I like about doing Gutfeld and with other people is I feel that
Right,
sometimes when
cardiologists.
I'm not there. I don't just mean personally.
I'm telling you, I have a
it's like
really
one person
hard
talks, the
time
next
with
person
cardio.
like more monologues.
For
I like it
real,
when it's a hang.
it's
When it's a hang, it's a conversation.
Right, and we're all busting
It
holes
And something
interacting.
goes off the wheels.
That's right. Like
That's usually the best
Friday
stuff.
shows. Yeah.
Whenever I guest host, I don't do a monologue.
Right.
I was like, and that Greg is a great orator.
A
And the monologue is like
cardiologist
his
is
thing. I don't
somebody
think
who works with the
anyone
heart.
else doing a monologue on this show is kind of a bad idea.
Sure.
Because you're not going to do it like he does.
Well,
it. Like
sure,
he
he
is
does a
it
good
right.
job.
Yeah. Well.
Oh.
But when you compare it to Greg,
Sure.
it's apples to oranges.
Yeah.
No shade. Shalu's a talented guy, but the guy who the irritating whimsicalness of Gutfeld is, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause he just pisses people off.
Oh yeah, I love that. He's a troll like me.
Yeah, you guys have a lot in common. But
It's true.
and then he'll hit you with some like serious knowledge. You'd be like, huh? And then he'll say some weird shit to where you'd be like, what was that again?
But that's the fun, I think, when the audiences keep guessing. I think a lot of times on some of these shows, you know what the person's going to say before they open their mouth. Why am I watching this?
Right, yeah, because it's always, I always get ready for me to hit the channels when I hear someone say, to your point.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
And I'm just,
yeah.
That's one of the worst things. You don't get that. And you've got some crazy outfits too, because you're on everything. I see you whenever you wrote, I see you everywhere. And you have some pretty outlandish outfits. I feel like you just love living rent-free in everyone's mind.
Not only, but I grew up on wrestling. Right, so look at Ric Flair.
You would have been a hell of a manager. You're still time.
Oh, I would be
You
such
would be one of the best heel managers.
That was my fantasy as a kid, being Bobby Heenan's like protege.
Yeah, because Bobby Heenan is my all-time favorite manager, and I love Paul Heyman the person, and I love when he was Paulie Dangerously and when his WCW days and stuff. But Heenan he made the guy. Didn't matter who he was managing. They were the number one. If they were wrestling Hogan because they had Bobby, didn't matter if they lost 8 matches in a row, they were the guy.
Yeah.
Because Heenan said they were the guy.
Right.
You know, and I still remember crying because I thought Orndorff's feet hit first. And Bobby was so upset. And I believed him when he was going to get lawyers. I believed that he was rich. I didn't pay attention to the polyester outfit. Because he had blonde hair.
Right.
You know? And once I got into the business, I learned a lot. But, like, Heenan, also, him and Gorilla Monsoon, I think was my favorite all-time commentary.
What I liked about him, and I think now that we're older, you can look back when you were a kid. I think people respect now how hard it is to be a good heel.
Yeah.
Because you have to get the person to hate you, but they have to like hating you. It's tough because it's easy to be a jerk, but he wasn't a jerk. You're intrigued. You want to hear what he has to say.
Right, but he would do things. He would always, like, him and Gorilla Monsoon were just.
And they were besties too in real life.
Best friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best play-by-play guy is Jim Ross. Jim Ross didn't need a voice next to him, but he just did. Jim Ross, you were hooked. He made it real. Every punch mattered. Every move had a backstory. But in terms of like back and forth, because you could say Jesse and Gorilla, but to me, Bobby and Gorilla, it was just that dynamic.
Do you know what I liked about Jesse when Jesse Ventura was commentating? It would be like someone comes out with a steel chair, hits him on the head, just like, what are you talking about, Munson?
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Yeah, my monitor was off, and like, well, he had it coming.
Yeah, and you're home, and you're like, what the
But when Hogan does it, Jesse just flies off the handle. Oh, where are you on that one, Monsoon? But
do you know why they hate each other?
Do I know why they hate each other in real life?
Yeah.
Hogan and Jeff, well, because Hogan allegedly backdoored him. Jesse was trying to start a union for wrestlers.
Oh, is that what it was?
And to make sure everyone got equal pay.
Oh, Hogan made the call.
And Hogan was was the fattest fish in the
Yeah,
pond.
yeah.
And he smartened up Vince to it, and Vince fired him.
Oh.
That's the underground story. And thinking back at the time, it kind of makes a little sense because Hogan was making triple what the other guys were making.
He was the guy.
Yeah, and he was but if you were married to him, if you were working with him, you were making some big money.
Of course.
And then the pay differential when you weren't working with him
was
a lot different.
Right,
so a lot of guys were bitter. But it's funny, like the core journeyman guys like Hacksaw and like my son's grandfather Haku, like when those guys talk, it's nothing but love because they were working because the arenas were filled and their pay was a lot better, even if it wasn't up to where he was, but they were fine with it because everybody ate off his fame.
There are trucks, and then there's the 2026 GMC Sierra. It's the truck. Get 2.9% APR for 72 months plus $1,500 purchase cash on Sierra models.
People think stoic means has no emotions. I sort of define stoicism as this idea that we don't control what happens, but we control how we respond to what happens.
Do you think that the Stoicism's principles of ancient wisdom are relevant for our times right now?
The popularity of Stoicism is a reaction against what's clearly not working for us and clearly making us miserable. We're all obviously just overstimulated and stressed and overwhelmed and trying to make sense of the world. There's nothing so bad that you can't learn something from it. It's in those moments that I think we're really being tested. We have an opportunity to learn what we're made of.
I love that. Nothing is wasted.
Unless we waste it.
Unless we waste it. Hello, and thank you for joining me on the Oprah Podcast. My book club selection this past April was Go Gentle by novelist Maria Simple. And in the story that she tells, the lead character practices and teaches Stoicism. But before I read Go Gentle, the novel, I think I had a vague idea of what Stoicism was. I thought it meant grin and bear it, stuff your feelings, tough it out. But the more her character spoke of Stoic principles in the novel, the more interested I became. And then I started ordering books about Stoicism. So I wasn't just reading the novel, I was reading books about what the character in the novel was talking about. And then I hear this ancient philosophy is having a big comeback, even among younger people. So I invited the man who has written 15 books on Stoicism, including The Daily Stoic, and really one of the most popular, The Obstacle is the Way, which has sold millions of copies and has been published in 40 different languages. He is a podcaster, he is an author, and one of the leading voices behind the modern Stoicism movement. Welcome to my front porch, Ryan Holiday.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a total honor.
So tell us how that became an interest for you.
Yeah, I don't think when people think of ancient philosophy, they think, oh, this will help me with modern problems. And so I had an experience, I guess, that people have been having for thousands of years, which is you pick up Marcus Aurelius or Seneca, Epictetus, and you go, wait, this can't possibly be from 2,000 years ago.
Those are all famous Stoics.
They're the famous Stoics, yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a passage in Marcus Aurelius' Meditations that I remember reading as a college student, where the most powerful man in the world is talking about not wanting to get out of bed in the morning because it's nice and warm under the covers. And in that second, all these centuries, disappear. These different cultures, is totally, surreal circumstances disappear, and you realize like human beings have been struggling with the same things for all time.
Yes.
And actually that's what philosophy is about. Philosophy isn't riddles and names you can't pronounce. Philosophy is designed to help you live a good life, to fulfill your potential, to get up and get after it, to deal with the ups and downs of what they would say fortune could throw at you.
So 15 books you've written about this. What is Stoicism and how do you explain it?
Well, I think the stereotype you mentioned is a good place to start. People think Stoic means has no emotions, invulnerable.
Yeah.
That's what we would call lowercase Stoic. That's what the word means in English. Just like Epicurean means loves food, but is actually also a 2,500-year-old ancient philosophy. And so I sort of define Stoicism as this idea that we don't control what happens, but we control how we respond to what happens. And the Stoics believed that everything was an opportunity to practice virtue. And those four virtues for the Stoics were courage, temperance or self-discipline, justice, and wisdom. And so the idea is that life can throw a lot at you, but it can't prevent you from acting with virtue. That's something you could do in prison. You could also do as the Emperor of Rome. And so Stoicism then is this sort of toolkit for dealing with a world where the vast majority.
It's not a religion.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's a way of living, and there have been
the
Stoics lived in a world of the gods, and there have been Stoics in, God. I think perfectly compatible with a variety of different faiths. But it's mostly a way of living, a set of ideas.
Now, when I read Obstacle is the Way, I was struck by how simple the idea is, and yet how radical it also becomes when you actually try to live it. That the very thing, y'all, blocking your path might actually be the path. So Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, around the year 170, wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Yeah, and I had not come across that as a philosophy or how does what's standing in the way become the way, Ryan?
I think what he's specifically talking about makes it very clear. So the obstacle he's referring to, because he's writing in Meditations, which is just his private thoughts.
Yes.
So he's not saying it to us, he's saying it to himself.
Yeah.
And he's talking about difficult and annoying people. He's saying difficult and annoying people can get in our way, they can cause problems for us, right? Our opponents, our competitors, anyone can cause problems for us. But they can't prevent us from moving forward because they're actually presenting us a new way to move forward, whether it's patience, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's creativity or perseverance. So for the Stoics, when they say the obstacle is the way, look, sometimes you can transform what you're dealing with into some huge opportunity to move forward in a professional capacity.
Yeah.
And always in a personal capacity, we're being challenged and tested. We're given an opportunity to practice some kind of excellence, some reach for us that maybe we wouldn't have done under ordinary circumstances. But this circumstance we're in gives us the chance to do that. That's what he means.
So you write about persistent, directed action, and you say action is the solution and cure to our predicaments. How do people take action when they're stuck? When they don't know what to do? Most people don't take action because they're stuck.
One of the Stoic philosophers, Seneca, he said that the one thing all fools have in common is that they're always getting ready to start. So we say we're going to do it later, we say we're going to do it tomorrow, we say we're going to do it when things go back to normal.
All fools have this in common. I was thinking, okay, I'm in that fool category. Getting ready. I'm getting ready.
Yeah, we're working ourselves up to it.
Yeah.
And really, we got to get started. We got to, what's the smallest thing? What's the next right thing that we can do?
Yeah.
One of my favorite writing rules is just a couple crappy pages a day.
Yeah.
Just get started. Don't overthink it. Don't let perfection be a form of paralysis.
Yeah.
But what can you do right now that at least makes a small positive difference?
Yeah, even if you're tired, even if you're discouraged, you still take action no matter what.
Well, that's what discipline is, right? Doing it when you don't want to do it, or you don't have to do it, or you have a good excuse to not do it.
Yeah. Well, one of the first sentences that stood out for me is, it doesn't matter what happens to us. It can be for the best if we use it to be better for ourselves and others.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds crazy, but also really challenging to apply. And in order to make it real, you organize the book around the 3 principles: perception, action, and will.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how the Stoics try to approach every situation they're in. First, how do we think about this? What's the story I'm telling myself about it? What's my view on it? The Stoics remind themselves that, it's not things that are the problem. It's our opinion about those things, right? The story we tell ourselves about it. This was unfair, this was cruel, I was humiliated. These are all subjective interpretations of an objective event. So first, how do we see this? That's really, really essential.
Well, that's so interesting, because since reading so many of your books and other people's books about Stoicism, I now ask people, I used to say, tell me what happened. I've now caught myself saying, what's the story you're telling yourself about this?
Do you know what my therapist said to me once?
What?
I said, I gave some interpretation of an event, and she corrected me, and she said, no. What you make up about this is.
Yes.
Right? It is. And then what I make up about it is my interpretation of it.
That's right. So what is the story you have made up about what is actually happening?
Yes.
Yes.
And so Stoicism is training to be able to see things as objectively, as dispassionately as possible. Not in the sway of our initial impression, or our emotions or our bias or whatever pattern we have followed our whole life.
Okay, could you give me an example using perception?
Yeah. Okay. First and foremost, something happens, and then we say, "This is bad," or "This is unrecoverable from." My reputation has been damaged. That interpretation, and stepping back and going, no. Somebody else might see this totally different. Or had I not known that this happened, had someone said that rude remark to you, and you just didn't hear it, or your phone deleted the email, would your life be ruined? No, it's just that you know about it, and then you have an opinion about it. That is the problem. So trying to step back and see the thing first and foremost objectively, and then I think what we can get better at is going, hey, if I have the power to tell myself a negative story about this, I also have the power to tell myself a positive story about this. And that's where, when we say the obstacle is the way, what we mean is, hey, this is a chance for me to do something that I couldn't do under ordinary circumstances.
So how do we, Ryan, train ourselves to see clearly when emotions are running high? How do you, so in every situation, you first do the assessment. And you sort of step back and you don't shut down your emotions, or do you shut down your emotions?
I don't think you shut them down. I think the stereotype...
Repress your emotions. What do you do?
Having the emotion, to me, is different than acting on the emotion. Lincoln famously would get upset, as all leaders do, and he would write these letters, but then he would put the letters in a drawer and not send them. Right? You can be angry. You don't have to hit send, because you can take a minute to think about it. So to me, Stoicism is that reflection, that pause after the initial impression. The Stoics are talking about taking every interpretation, every view, every instinct, every impulse, and putting it to the test, going, hey, how am I going to feel about this later? Am I sure I'm not going to regret this? Is this actually making it better or worse?
So the Stoic philosophy is not to react emotionally. It's to take a moment, take the whole thing in, and try to look at it from the perspective of what is actually happening here, and not just the story I'm telling myself about what's happening here.
Yeah, it's that pause between the stimulus and the thing you do.
Everything I do begins with intention. You become exactly what you believe is possible, especially the Oprah podcast. You're doing good, Abe. I believe when people share their personal journeys with authenticity.
Never thought of it like that.
I love that you never thought of it that way before. And with intention, something beautiful happens. We recognize pieces of our own lives in theirs. We realize that actually helps, right? We are not alone. Life is a journey, and how we navigate it matters. That's why I am so excited to welcome our friends at Geico as the official insurance partner for the Oprah podcast. For 90 years, Geico has been there for the highs and the lows, with people through life's exciting moments and supporting them when the road takes an unexpected turn. Geico's protection has given customers the peace of mind to keep moving forward. And that support matters at every point along the way. A first car, a new home, a teenager learning to drive, a delay, a breakdown, a claim. These are the moments that remind us why it matters to feel protected before life changes course. And Geico is there to make the journey more manageable, to help guide you with insurance designed to keep you covered through it all, because life happens in ways we can't always predict. And with the right support, we keep driving forward. And that, dear listener, is everything. Okay, so is the obstacle always meant to be overcome when the obstacle is the way, or is it meant just to be understood? I found that, when something goes wrong or is challenging, if I can ask the question, what is this here to teach me? What is this here to teach me? It eases the way and clears the path for moving forward. So are we supposed to always move the obstacle out of the way, or are we just supposed to understand why it's there?
I think it's all of the above. I mean, look, sometimes you face a problem or an obstacle, and what's being demanded of you is persistence, perseverance, determination. You got to knock this thing out of the way with sheer force. That's what the opportunity is. And you're going to get stronger, just like lifting weights, for having had to wrestle with this thing. Epictetus, one of the Stoics, he says, you know, pretend you're an Olympic athlete and you've been paired with a strong sparring partner. Like, you're wrestling with this and you're both getting better because it's hard. So sometimes it's like that. And you're right, sometimes it's actually not a surmountable obstacle. Sometimes it's just an obstacle there that's there to teach you about yourself, to teach you about the world.
Is everything there to teach us something?
I think there's nothing so bad that you can't learn something from it. I think that is the ultimate way that we turn the obstacle into an opportunity, as a learning experience, if not in our own lives. How can, if we've screwed up horribly badly, how do we at least codify what we've learned so our children can benefit from it, or people we know can benefit from it?
I'm so interested in this principle of living your life from the point of view of understanding what you can control and what you can't control.
Yeah.
I'm not a Stoic, but I think I have understood that for a long time. We have a few practicing Stoics zooming in with us. Dr. Dan Dworkis is an emergency room physician from Los Angeles. Welcome, doctor.
Hi, folks. Thanks for having me.
How do you use these tenets of Stoicism in the ER?
Absolutely. I mean, I really came to Stoicism through medicine.
Wow.
When you work in medicine, you are exposed to this really raw, very vulnerable part of humanity, right? You're with people as they suffer. You're with them as they survive, and sometimes you're with them as they die. And there are days when you and your team, you just give everything you possibly have, and it's still not enough, right? And somebody dies, and you go home from that, and you realize your limitations, how small you are, that there are these obstacles that there is no way around. And what do you do with that, right? So you have to find some method of a how and a why to come back tomorrow and to try harder and to do better. And so as I was wrestling with that, I really found the Stoic principles to be incredibly helpful about making meaning out of that, right? So this idea of operate where you have control, or play the hand of cards you're dealt, you know, to find a way to help that lean into, as opposed to away from, that raw, messy humanity. So for me, practicing Stoicism became just a really critical part of how I practice and teach emergency medicine. So much so that when I wrote my book, The Emergency Mind, which is like lessons from an ER doctor on how to perform under pressure, I tried to think about this core concept of what is Stoicism for emergencies and then build outward from there. So I think it's really intimately tied to crisis, whether you're the one going through it or the one trying to solve it.
Wow. I hear you have a question for Ryan.
I do, and I'm very thankful to get the chance to ask it. I actually read The Obstacle is the Way in between shifts when I was coming up, and it made a big difference for me, so thank you for that.
That is amazing.
One of the things I really love about Stoicism is that it's an and instead of an or, right? So you can be, as you said, religious and very deeply religious and a Stoic, or you can be not religious at all and be a Stoic. You can be a teacher or an author or an ER doctor or anything and be a Stoic, a Republican and a Stoic, a Democrat and a Stoic. And our culture these days doesn't really do and, right? We do a lot of or.
Yeah.
We really want to divide people into you are this or you are that. And I think Stoicism has this real ability to unite people around this and concept. So my question is, what do you do with that? How do you use Stoicism to bring people to the understanding that we really can be an and instead of an or?
I think even with the idea of like what a philosopher is, right? People tend to think of a philosopher as someone who works at a university and discourses about philosophy, as opposed to he's a philosopher in the emergency room, right? Philosophy is supposed to help you do what you do and do it better, do it with virtue, do it with courage and discipline
Dr.
and justice
Dan
and
is a
wisdom.
philosopher in the emergency room. I can see that.
It's something you put into practice that helps you with what you do. And I think if we can understand that we're all human beings dealing with that same fundamental limitation. Marcus Aurelius is the most powerful man in the world. Epictetus is a slave in the Roman Empire. One is extremely powerful, one is extremely powerless. But they're equalized by the fact that the vast majority of life is not in their control. And so in that, we all have this thing in common. We're all trying to respond well to the hand we've been dealt in life. That, to me, is where we come together and where Stoicism is something that you could talk about with a professional athlete or an emergency room doctor or a parent with a toddler that's just trying to get through the sleepless nights.
And how do you use it on a daily basis?
Oh, it's really hard to separate it out from emergency medicine because it's really just so ingrained, right? Seneca has this great quote I love, which is endeavor not to trip over something behind you, right? So you always want to keep moving forward and trying to figure out what comes next. And I think that's equally applicable if you miss an IV you're placing and you have to go place the next one, or on a much broader scale, you have something just truly horrible happen. That next family needs you to show up for them with the same compassion and love and care and ability as you had for the case that just went terribly wrong, right? So you have to sort of endeavor not to trip over that and to keep moving forward with it.
Wow, Dr. Dan is a philosopher in the emergency room. Dr. Dworkis, that's wonderful. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you for your insights. Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you. I love this quote. This is one of my all-time favorite quotes, okay? Life will cut you open like a knife. When that happens, at that exposing moment, the world gets a glimpse of what's truly inside you. So what will be revealed when you're sliced open by tension or pressure, iron or air or bullshit? And you go on to say that the will is the critical third discipline. It is the one thing we control completely, always. Can you speak more about this?
Yeah, when a lot of the obstacles we face are just the sort of pedestrian problems of life, right? Traffic, travel delays, you wake up sick, you got a problem at work. And then there are those sort of deeper, more profound problems, obstacles, a cancer diagnosis, a loss of a loved one, an accident, bankruptcy, a theft, the real stuff. And it's in those moments that I think we're really being tested, and we have an opportunity to learn what we're made of. The Stoics talked about how they sort of pity people who haven't been knocked around by life because they don't know what they're capable of.
That's right.
And if you say to yourself, hey, this is me learning something essential about myself, this is a test, will I rise to meet it or not?
You write on page 155, love everything that happens. Amore fati. Yeah.
Acceptance is tough, right? Just
explain this principle, because that is tough.
Well, acceptance is sort of the first level of it, right? The Stoics call this the art of acquiescence. Understanding a lot of things are not in your control, and you're going to have to come to terms with them.
Reminds me of a quote from Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth, where he says, life will give you exactly what you need for the evolution of your consciousness. And how do you know it's what you need? It's because what you're experiencing in this moment. This is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So you might as well just accept it.
Yeah, and then beyond acceptance is when you embrace it and you decide, hey, this isn't something I have to go through. It's something I get to go through. This is a transformational, transcendent experience for me.
But I mean, this all sounds really good, very philosophical, but really hard when it is your life.
Yes.
You're going through the stuff.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
And it was hard for the Stoics too. It's easy to write it down. It was easy for me. It was easy for Marcus Aurelius. But the putting it into practice, the struggling with it day to day, is the thing.
Your husband just left you. You lost a job. You have a cancer diagnosis. All these things. But this is when the principles really come into play.
And I think understanding that it's work. It's not, oh, I heard this idea once, I saw this quote, so now I get it, and now this thing isn't hard for me.
Yes.
It's the reminder of it day to day. If we understand what meditations was for the most powerful man in the world, it's him reminding himself over and over again.
By the most powerful, you mean Marcus Aurelius, yes.
It's this totally unique historical document, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, one of the great texts, great gifts of civilization that this survives. But he says a lot of the same things over and over again, because it's not for you and me, it was for him. He's reminding himself.
He's writing to himself.
Yes, and he's doing it during a plague.
I had no idea we were going to be talking about it on my porch.
He might be mortified.
2026.
He might be mortified.
Yeah.
He's doing it through a plague, through floods, through wars, through the loss of multiple. He attends multiple funerals for his children. It is a deeply and profoundly painful life that he gets through. And he is having to work through it, as we are all
So he
having to work
leaves
through
all of these writings that later become what we're now discussing.
Yeah, look, it's the journal. In the same way that I sit down in the morning and I go, hey, you didn't need to lose your temper like that yesterday. Don't you regret it? Why did you do that? You know better than this. It's that sort of self-talk that is trying to get you back on track. So it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to know it in the moment, and it's a third thing to get back to it when you've done the wrong thing.
Elle is a business owner in California. Hi, Elle.
Hi, Oprah. Hi, Ryan.
Hi. And you're practicing Stoicism. Tell us about that.
So I'm an entrepreneur, and I founded and was CEO of a baby carrier company called Solly Baby for over a decade. Now I do other things in business. I'm the host of a podcast called Down the Well with Elle for moms, and my husband and I invest in family-owned businesses. But back in the early days of Solly Baby, I rode all the emotional highs and lows of the business. And
The thing, I've seen a lot of these shoot interviews, and Haku isn't a huge name in retrospect, right? But every single person says he's the toughest person.
They respected him. He is the sweetest grandfather I could ever ask for.
But Heenan told a story how he saw Haku in a bar fight, and he pulled the guy's tooth out. And he says
every year it gets longer, wider, and this and that. I focus on. He was one of the toughest guys to chase the American dream, and unfortunately, when you're tougher than life on TV, people, and I had to deal with a lot of the same thing too. People try to kill the giant, and a lot of people got their asses handed to them. But then every year, here's a perfect example. When I worked at Saddle Ranch, I got jumped by 4 guys.
Okay.
And it didn't end well for them. And by this time, when I go back home, it's up to 12 now. And one of the guys, I threw him into the curb and he broke his collarbone, but now he broke his neck and he was in a wheelchair. Like every year, the legend gets better and better and better. And I think a lot of times, especially when a wrestler's telling an event of what happens, they're going to sprinkle the magic on it. So it was everything from eyeballs to teeth to ears and stuff like that. He was one of the baddest guys, but he was also one of the most gentlest souls. Like, here's a story a lot of people don't know. Him and Hacksaw, when they were fighting over the crown, Hacksaw ruptured his Achilles tendon.
Oh my God.
So, and back then, you didn't get paid time off.
Right.
You didn't work the next guy up.
Right.
So they're touring 300 days a year back then. And every night, Haku took care of him in the ring. He'd come down, all he had to do was get in the ring, he'd jump him, he'd work his leg, and then, lo and behold, there'd be a roll-up. 1, 2, 3, and they did that every night until Hacksaw was better.
Oh wow!
That's who.
Okay.
That's who he was. Him and Arn Anderson and Haku, they traveled up and down the road together, calling each other Fat Man. You know, like those are the stories that I love to hear, because every time I see him, it's like being under the learning tree. You know?
Yeah.
And when I was going through my stuff with the WWE, when they turned me into the Funkasaurus, I was terrified to come home and tell him that. You know, and then when it debuted on Raw,
I just watched it last week. It's really sweet.
And I get to the house, my son's like, he's still got steam on his head, he's so young. And I walked through the door because I wanted to quit. You know, because I was like, they ruined everything I worked so hard for. Arn Anderson and I worked, oh man, Arnie said, how many wet shirts did I have a day? Rolling around with me, making you the killer that I wanted you to be, work like me, not like other big guys, work like me. And because I made jokes in the locker room, Vince equated that to dancing. I don't know how you get there, but
sure.
And I'm watching the tape with him, and I got wells of water in my eyes, and he's just laughing his ass off, and he's like, "You're gonna make so much money." And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "This is great.
It's great.
This is great." He's like, "You don't have to even bump. You know how many years it's gonna add to your career?" Like, and all the things I didn't think about, you know. And then I was like, and then the next week I came out, and I was like, "Get the kids in the ring." But like
if you're an 8, you have to think about it. If I'm an 8-year-old boy, I saw this.
And
I
I
that's my
forgot
God. Yeah.
those are the fans that matter.
The fan, right.
And once I remembered, because when I was cool, when JYD came out to the ring and the kids got in the ring with him, I was like, man,
yes,
man, you know, if I could get in that ring, the things that me and my brother would practice, what our moves would be. We didn't really even like JYD because he wasn't one of, my favorite was Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and Big John Studd. Those are my two favorites at that time. And then when the Islanders joined Heenan, I was like, oh man, I'm in absolute heaven.
Yeah, I remember that very well.
But wrestling was it was so different back then because they protected the magic.
Right, sure. Until Axel f***ed it up.
Yeah, we went out to dinner with the Sheik, but
not just dinner, he got smoking with him.
Well, peace pipe.
But that's why I put on the outfits.
No, hey, but we used to, like, it's funny, me and Sandow, best friends. But we were so much marks for the old way that if we were in an airport, we would sit on opposite sides. You know, if we were at a restaurant, we would not sit at the same table.
Would you always call each other by your stage names too?
Yeah, always.
Always, right.
Always. And it was always, we even had one time where we both had seats in first class and we were next to each other. And he acted like he wouldn't sit next to me. And the stewardess was like, sir, and he's like, will someone switch with me? I'm not sitting next to this monster. You know, and I was like, I'm not sitting next to you and whatever you got in your hair, you pompous, da-da-da. And we would, because we just loved the old way.
Of course, yeah.
And now it's kind of, the magic's out of the bag and wrestling's strong enough to where the fans just love it. But I wish they'd kind of go back to protecting it a little bit. Because here's the thing about wrestling, you're only one show away from changing. Like right now, everyone and their mom does. I couldn't, like people keep asking me, since I've leaned out and they're like, hey, you ever think about making a comeback? And I said, I would die in the first match because I can't do 6 planchas, Hurricane Rana, take 6 power bombs, and then kick out. You know what I'm saying? It's just too, I'm not doing all that. They would hate me. I would put them in an arm bar and the crowd would leave.
But do you know what else?
But it only takes one guy.
But you know what's is funny? I went to see a show recently, Dolph, a couple years ago. Dolph. He's a real cool dude.
He's the best.
Talk about someone who's a natural heel. Like
Ziggler he's my favorite guy to work because he has the best sense of humor in the ring. Yeah. He cracks so many jokes in the ring. And the weirdest, we're in a pay-per-view, and he's a former champion, and I'm up against a former champion, and it's a big pay-per-view. And at first, we only had like 6 minutes. But everything was going so well, and Jake Swagger was on the outside, and he'd do this cool thing. When Vince likes something, he'll gift you minutes. So our original finish was he goes to hit the suplex, and I counter it, boom. Or no, he goes for a high cross body, and I hit my headbutt, splash. So we're going into the finish. I go to hit the headbutt, and the ref says, hey, you guys got 6 more minutes. And Dolph just grabs the front, because he's an amateur wrestler. He immediately
for real,
kicks me, while we're going to figure out, well, okay, we're going home, brother. So he hooks me, and he's like, hey, whatever you do, don't let me suplex you. And if you look at the size of me and Dolph's hooking me for the suplex. And he's like, don't let me suplex you. And I just said, are you sure? And, the two of us are like trying not to laugh. And I'm like, we got 6 minutes. He's like, so he goes.
That's a lot of time, isn't it, in wrestling?
That's a lifetime. And I said, I reversed it, boom. And then swag. Jake doesn't get enough. He's doing the slap fight stuff, but he doesn't get enough credit for he was such a great worker. He could see things. We couldn't talk to him because he was out in the field, but once I reversed that splash and went to hit the ropes, he just instinctively grabbed my leg. Then I turned, boom, we out on the floor, we just stretched. Now we got 3 minutes. Like working with Dolph and him, when they were together, they didn't get enough credit. Dolph doesn't get enough credit. I think just because the system's designed now to where they don't want to have a big fish. They don't want to have another Shawn Michaels or a Bret Hart or a Triple H or Rock, where a guy is so big where he kind of calls his shot. Cena was always a great company man. Whatever was asked, he would do it. But there were certain guys that would get to the spot and be like, I'm not doing that tonight.
Is that right?
Yeah, because they were, Hogan was that way. There were certain guys that were like, I don't know if I like this, and I think Dolph was one of those guys that I don't think he'll. When people look back on his career when he's done, I think they'll look back and be like, this is one of the best of our generation.
He was around for a long time, which is not
champ in TNA right now.
Is he really? Okay,
yeah. And he's still taking, him and I have one of the craziest bumps ever. at WrestleMania. We're coming off of. He runs up at the stage and jumps in the air at me, and I headbutt him. And that standing headbutt I did is stiff as shit. There's just no way to. And he eats. Look it up. Eats shit on the rail. I thought he was dead. Oh, of course, the WrestleMania crowd is they're just looking for. Of
course.
They're going, chanting like it was just. But he bounced off the grate, like he just thought he died, and I was just like, we get in the back, and it was like Major League, great bump, don't ever do it again.
Yeah.
He was hurt, and then we're on SmackDown. He runs on the steps, jumps in the air, hit the headbutt on him again. He hits the ground. I'm like, oh, stop jumping in the air, man, because he doesn't know how to take a bump, just a bump. Everything's spectacular. And then something, that's him and Jack shoot me off. They go for a double clothesline. I duck it, hit the ropes, dust the ropes, flying, clothesline, down, pop. They roll out, crowd's going crazy. Vince apparently hates the double clothesline spot. We didn't know.
Okay.
We get through the thing, and he's like, do it again. And we're like,
yeah.
What again? The whole match. So we had to go
really?
SmackDown.
Holy shit.
And this time when Dolph was coming around, and you have no time to like change shit up, and the crowd,
of course.
SmackDown crowd is like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like April Fool's.
Yeah, like the music kids, we just come walking back out. And we get in there, we're doing, and he goes to, and I said, I throw him out. I said, whatever you do,
don't do the double close.
Don't jump.
Yeah.
Do not jump.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to. You're just not gonna see it. If they like it, they can cut and piece it because it's recorded. But he would do things like that, and of course, Dolph runs around the corner and jumps in the air again, and you do the hit. But like, that's just who he was. He is like, he's a smart guy, funny guy, but he's one of the like. He will work the match. If you don't get over, he thinks he had a bad match.
Right.
He's one of those guys, and he was one of my favorites to work with. Smart, and he's so light.
That's the thing that's funny to me. That like we know enough about from the UFC about fight dynamics. If you got like 80 pounds on a guy, you're not just gonna. It's not a thing.
UFC. The fact that wrestling is still alive,
right,
with bare knuckle fighting. UFC, then they got the slap. Like all the real, one slap can knock you out, and bare knuckle fighting, you see their faces, they look like hell.
But it's also funny, like.
And then CM Punk went to UFC. That's how that worked out. Not everyone can be Brock.
Why am I unconscious if you clothesline me? It makes no sense.
No.
That's when my spark got hot. I heard somebody say, burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno, yeah. Burn the father down. Burn, baby, burn. Disco Inferno.
Not everyone's life runs in straight lines. At Sophia, we get that. Our flexible, affordable, self-paced college-level courses help thousands of people just like you complete their degrees for only $99 a month.
And the other thing is, I was yelling at Dolph after I saw this match. I'm like, you're a world champion wrestler. You don't know how to look behind you at this point. You know how to hook the leg.
Some things
like,
never change.
It makes
like
no
crowd,
sense. Look behind you. It's like, he's a world.
I
can
had a
tell
whole
you that.
program where I kept getting snuck up on by Big Show. Just
yeah, the world's biggest ninja.
And they punched me, and you'd be like, and every February, Big Show would beat up all the brothers. Every February, like to the point where I just had him on the podcast, and I was like, whose idea was that? Because it's no matter what, without fail, every February somehow.
That's Black History Month.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
It was R-Truth, Kofi, and me would be down in the ring for some reason, some shenanigans, his music would hit, and we would all die horrible deaths. Every February, like clockwork. And but you look back on it and you just absolutely laugh. Wrestling is, I will never get tired of it. I just, coming out of the gym, I was just watching, this week I was watching when Ole Anderson got kicked out of the Horsemen and Lex Luger came in. I love the old stuff it's just, they did so much with so little. And I think that's what made wrestling so beautiful, was like, Ric Flair had no business being a 12-time champion at all. Absolutely. Not at all. He did 6 moves. But it didn't matter.
Hogan did 6 moves.
Hogan did.
If
Hogan figured it out.
Every match was the same.
Go watch him in Japan.
Okay.
He's a wrestling machine in Japan.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. because he had to be.
Okay. But in the States, every match is exactly the same.
But he figured out the formula.
Yeah.
For the reason why the ratings were so high. Bad guy comes in, beats him up, hulks up, boot. The only thing he screwed up is he should have done an elbow drop. The leg drop every night is why he had no more hips.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Should have done the big elbow, because landing on your ass and your tailbone every night is not the best.
Okay.
But he figured it out, the attention span of the audience during the 80s and 90s. And that's what they wanted.
I know, but I hated him.
Oh, I didn't like him either. I was a Heenan fan. He made me cry a lot. He made me cry a lot. You know, just because I would get so upset. I get so worked up. Because Orndorff was my favorite wrestler. When Orndorff lost at WrestleMania 1, I was inconsolable. I hated Cowboy Bob Orton, who was my second favorite. Like, no one blamed him. He hit him in the head with a cast. He missed. And Piper did the thing, you know, and then they coming out, and then Orndorff was big baby face, and then when Orndorff turned on him, I was just so happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I used to go to school, like, nobody was looking for Playboys. It was who had the wrestling magazine.
Yeah.
Who could convince their mom to buy the wrestling magazine in the shopping mall?
I remember the first one I bought was from Ken Patera.
Mine was the Honky Tonk Man.
That was the third one I got. It's that black cover.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because the article about him, they couldn't use his name. Because they're like, the man who became the Honky Tonk Man, I remember that.
Yeah, because they had trademark. He got in some trouble with Elvis, but like...
No, do you know what he did? Okay, I'll tell you. I'm sorry. Because one of my heroes is Andy Kaufman, who was like the first big troll, right?
Yeah, he was great.
Andy, Honky Tonk Man, when I'm 10, 11, this didn't make sense. Now in retrospect, like this genius, he said Elvis stole his act.
Yes, he did.
Elvis died.
Because it was he.
It was.
You go down to the South and say Elvis is a hack, you're gonna get booed.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, how is that chronologically possible? It was so effing brilliant. I'm so. And
He's one of the greatest
when he came out
workers.
as Kim Chi, what was that guy's name?
Yeah, with the mask.
Yeah,
Kamala's handler.
Yeah, it was so epic. And when he hit that guitar over Randy Savage's head,
because that was the first time he pushed Elizabeth.
Right.
And no one could believe it.
My jaw dropped.
Yeah, because even I was like, hey,
we're crossing a line here.
You can't hit girls, bro. Right. And he hit him with but that also was the night that like Bret Hart became a star.
Yeah.
Because him and Savage had that amazing match.
Right.
See, this stuff, this is why we get along, because we both spent more time on the TV than paying attention to what our parents were telling. My mother sat me down and made me watch the 2020 special. When she was going to end this wrestling's fake bullshit, I would get beatings standing on wrestling was real.
No.
It would get to the point where, because she was running out of furniture. I don't know how many coffee tables went down between me and my brother with suplexes and attempted pile drivers and leg drops and jump off the couch. And luckily, once my brother discovered the Honky Tonk Man, he was just doing the neck breaker.
Yeah.
But for a while, he was like doing snookas, trying to do the high cross body off the couch, and I'd catch him.
Hold on. It's hard to remember because you were a kid. How in your little kid brain does Missing Link and Kamala make sense?
Well, he was a missing link.
That doesn't make
He pulled his hair. He had a blue tongue for some reason. I don't know the type of people he ate. Blue. Kamala, they found him in Uganda. I think it was because it was such an escape. It was real. It wasn't like a Disney cartoon. It was like this. If they said it was real, you didn't have that. The skeptic asshole hadn't been invented yet. You don't lean over like, it's fake, right? Here's his name.
You don't have to be a skeptic asshole to be like, people in Uganda have a language and are capable of speaking a language.
Well, he was a different one. Because you didn't care. You just knew that he was
George Animal Steel. What is he, like, deadly handicapped?
You know what, though? When he did that movie with Johnny Depp.
Who did? George?
Yeah. And he was magnificent.
Yes.
I had a hard time with that because I was like, I didn't want to believe that was real. I wanted to believe it was lip sync.
Didn't he go to like Yale or something?
Yeah, he was a genius.
Yeah, right.
But he was smart because he didn't have to do anything.
Right.
And I used to do that to Sandow when get in the ring on house shows. I'd do his thing and chase him around the ring. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the crowd, it doesn't matter because it was such a wild thing. But it was when I look back on it, it was such a happy break. It was just something.
It was a soap opera, guys.
Yeah, and it was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
And my mother finally had it, and she sat me down to watch the 2020 special, and they almost had me like Mr. Fuji and Barry Windham. Their match was 30 seconds long because they were running out of time, and I was like, so. And then they were showing a slap that didn't quite hit, and I was like, so. And then they showed another one, and then some former wrestler was on there saying it was all fake, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to crack. She's seeing it starting to crack, and then he's in the hallway with Dr. D. David Schultz, and he's like, I think wrestling's fake, and he slapped him, and he's like, is that fake? And then he slapped him again, and he took off running, and I just went, told you. And she was like, get your ass to bed.
Have you talked to Stossel about that?
No.
I've had him on my show. I've talked to him about it.
He's still bitter though.
You don't you can't blame him.
I don't know. You go into a man's business and you tell him it's fake. I mean, that's like going into him. I get the slap. Maybe he shouldn't have. At least 2, definitely not.
Come on.
But he's protecting the business.
Wait, come on, you're a big dude. I bet it takes a lot for you to raise your hand to somebody.
Not really. It takes me a lot to remind myself
I'm
a big dude, because sometimes I think people don't respect the law of the jungle sometimes, and they'll walk up and get in somebody's face that they have absolutely no business doing.
Sure.
And he was literally in his face telling him that his life work was shit.
No, he wasn't telling you it was shit.
It was wrestling's fake. I think it's fake.
And he wasn't in his face in an aggressive way.
As best he could.
Oh, this is John Stossel. He's like the nicest guy.
They always are the nicest guys. Sorry, I'm not a fan of any journalist.
I'm not a fan either.
And sometimes I feel like
I'm the one who coined the term.
As a child, it saved for me that slap. I slept good that night because my dream was not shattered. I did not have to go to school the next day and hear about, because the girls were like, it's fake, it's fake. I'm like, yeah, well, the slap. You know, the girls on the bus would love to make you watching your wrestling, because Wrestling Magazine, it was like, it wasn't as across the board popular. Because it was 2 trains of thoughts. It's completely fake, and they wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. It was stupid, or it was the greatest thing ever.
Yes.
And let's just say the school level of popularity, the wrestling fans were not on the lion's share of, like, we didn't have the girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but at least you had Miss Elizabeth. Yeah. I had her poster up on my bedroom wall.
I had Heather Thomas. I had Pam Grier. And I had Miss Elizabeth.
Pam Grier?
Yeah,
wow.
I was a big Pam Grier fan. But Miss Elizabeth was...
Did you ever meet her?
Special. No, I have not. It's funny, I never want to meet anyone that I had like a crush on or was my favorite wrestler. That was one thing when I was in the WWE. I was trying to avoid guys that I met.
Okay.
Because I knew that 99% of the time you're going to be... And I was like Haku, absolutely not. He was like... Of course, it was a personal thing meeting him, but like Dusty Rhodes didn't go well when I first met him.
Oh,
I absolutely, like, I was so nervous because, you know, when they ask you who your favorite guys are and stuff, and Bill DeMont, who was my trainer, wanted me to do a lot of Dusty stuff because it's like you have charisma and like I want you to do the elbow, like just mess around with it. And to try to get me to loosen up in the ring because he's like, you're really strong and you're a little stiff. We gotta loosen you up.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna hurt guys. You don't want to hurt guys because your problem is that you love it so much that you're playing wrestler. You want to do everything you saw on TV. You can't. So we gotta loosen you up.
Yeah.
And then Dusty was working with MVP at the time. He was getting MVP ready for TV. And he came down to, we were in McDonough, Georgia, and he was like, hey, we have a special guest today. It's closed. Dusty's down here to work with MVP. I'll hook it up so you can meet him.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh man, I couldn't wait to meet him. And I was all excited. And Dusty comes in. He's got his Texas University hat on. And he's sitting there and he's got his flannel on. And Bill goes, hey Dusty, somebody wants to meet you. And I was like, I had my speech ready. Hey sir, you're one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and you know, and I just it's really an honor to meet you. And I didn't even know what I was gonna say. I was kind of tongue tied. And I walked in the room and I was like, stuck my hand out and I was like, Mr. Rhodes, and he's like, I only talk to stars, baby. Are you a star? And I went.
He said that. Was he testing you?
I don't know what he was doing, and I just went.
Yeah, what are you supposed to say to that?
I guess I could have used.
I think so. He's like, talk to me when you're a star, and I just went. Turned around and I was like, this guy. I was crushed.
What Cyrus isn't telling the audience is also Dusty Rhodes has a lisp.
Yeah.
So it's even funny. He's like, are you a star?
I only talk to stars, baby.
That's right.
Call me when you're a star.
This 300
And didn't even blink. He was like, he gave me, and I just went, and I walked through the door, and I walked out, and Bill's like, how'd it go? And I was like, He told me to come back when I'm a star. He's like, well, that's good. I'm like,
It's not.
yeah?
It doesn't feel so good.
Let's try it again. Let's try this again.
Wow.
I only and he was like, oh man, don't. And then I left, and then he was dealing with guys who were getting ready for TV, and I was just I was like only had been there like a couple weeks, and it wasn't until like they had ended up moving all the way to Florida stuff when he was in there, and he came in, and he was like, "Big baby, why didn't you call me?" And I was like, "Because I'm not a star yet." And he started laughing. He's like, "Oh, you're too sensitive. You gotta learn to shake it off. That was a test. You failed miserably."
Oh, I knew it was a test.
Yeah, but
I knew it was a test.
You know, but then it was just like we just kind of hit it off. But my whole relationship with him, he never ever would talk to me about wrestling. Always life. He was always worried about me outside of wrestling.
Okay.
Like you know, with like relationships and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That's all we would talk about. Finally, one day, I was like, I want to know about you with Superstar Billy Graham. I've watched that match over and over again. You ate his ass up when he was the champ. Tell me why. And he was like, he sucked. He wasn't good. I carried him. I was the American Dream. They're like, I said, you beat the hell out of him in the bull rope. Yeah, I even made him pin me. He was terrified. And I was like, watching it back with him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and then we just got to the point where it was just, he would say things. I remember one day he got mad at me. I didn't have a good match at practice, and I was kind of half-assing it. And he was like, you either play or go home, and this, that, whatever. You could be a champion. And I was 3-time world champion. You know why? And I said, because you were the booker. And he's like, get the hell out. Like, you know, but like, I look back on that.
And he would also say he's the greatest athlete in the world.
He was. He was a hell of a basketball player.
Yeah,
did you ever see him in the celebrity basketball games? He was eating those guys up.
Yeah, but he was a fat mess.
But you know what? Back then, he was so good he could be.
Oh, I know.
He was the only guy that could be that way.
No, there were other like big fat.
Name one that was champ.
Oh, not a champ. Yeah.
That was in there with top guys. Like none. Like Big Bubba, but he was
King Bundy.
Bundy, but never world champ on a major network.
Well, it's hard. I don't think you could be a heel champ back then.
He was champ in like in Georgia, and I think Florida and stuff. But like once Hogan came on, it was because for a while, Iron Sheik was the heel, and then
Honky had the Intercontinental.
Honky
the longest run
was not the plan, and then he was the plan.
Yeah.
Well, Honky was punishment. Steamboat was deep shit. So
what happened with Steamboat?
Steamboat was a victim of being too good.
Okay.
His WrestleMania 3 match with Savage
was insane.
Yeah, a little too good.
And
the other match, the main event match, was based on a body slam.
Oh yeah, you're right. A second attempt. Yes.
Yeah. So and it was kind of like, but they had 25 falsies in that match.
Okay.
So, and I love Steamboat. He's one of my favorite coaches. One of my favorite things about him was like if you ask him a question, it was always a long, detailed answer.
Okay.
So the guys would be like, we're getting blown up in drills because this guy had a motor. And even I think he was in his 50s when we were with him. He could go all night. So I would be like, we'd be exhausted. And I'd be like, hey, I have a question about gear changes. Oh, I'm glad you asked. And then 25 minutes later, and I'd look at all the boys and be like, to the point where like we'd be rolling around, Kofi and be like, hey, ask Steamboat a question so we can get out of this drill. But he was, the ladies loved him. Like they just were obsessed with him. Fans, wherever he went, he was just the perfect baby face.
Yeah.
He sold like him and his stuff with Morocco, and he was just one of those awesome guys. But him and Savage, they went to Andre the Boss and said, we have 25 falsies or whatever. And he said, we have one slam. Go, do your thing. And they tore the roof off. And and there's always a WrestleMania after party. And Steamboat said to Savage, I think we're in trouble.
Wow.
Because they're calling it the greatest match, and it still is. It's still one of the. I'd say maybe Rock, Hogan surpass it in terms of reaction, but like in terms of just great match, I think Savage and Steamboat.
Was that the one where you hit him with the bell?
For the fin, he broke his that because the story in it was perfect.
Right.
Savage dropped the bell on his throat.
Right,
he never crushed his larynx. He could never talk again.
Yeah.
He was doing it wrong. I was like,
yeah.
And then at WrestleMania, it was Steel pushed Savage off the top rope.
Yeah, right.
And Steamboat put him in the small package.
Yeah.
And the place went crazy. But and then Barnett was the guy who cut the checks back then. And you got bonuses. Like Andre I think he got like a $300,000 bonus.